Greetings, geeks. This is another episode of Geeking Off the Page. I'm Mike, and we have a Troy with us, and we also have a Trevor.
I was going to say I'm Trevor, but I guess you just want to step all over me audio-wise. All right, I'm Trevor, I guess.
And that, I guess, would make me Troy. And I want to thank everyone here for joining us for episode 50 of Geeking Off the Page.
It's 51.
So, you missed last week.
What?
Yeah.
What do you mean? No, it's 51. We're supposed to be recording 50 this week, right?
No, it's
Oh
51.
shit! Did I put in the wrong time coordinates?
Yeah.
Oh no, wait, no. Let me bring.
Hey, things are getting all timey-wimey.
No, oh shit! I miscalculated by a week. Okay, well, I guess this would be episode 51 of Geeking Off the Page. Sorry that I missed last week's episode. How did it go? No, that's not.
Adrian missed it too.
Yeah. We all missed it. That's how things go. You know, you're thinking, hey, Tuesday, I'm going to do this. And you're like, oh shit, it's Wednesday already? Ew. Yeah, I totally did it. I totally did it. Yep. I'll go get it for you right now. Give me 7.5 hours and I'll go get it for you right now. Because
Don't worry, we're going to do this for you right now. This is episode 51. It's going to be all good.
All right, episode 51. All right, so how about we talk about something we've probably all been dealing with recently, and let's go with the latest episode of She-Hulk.
Oh, I was going to, if it was something everyone's dealing with, I was going to be like genital herpes. But yeah, She-Hulk works well too.
Well, I'm past that point, so I'm not currently dealing with it. But I guess if you guys want to talk about your genital herpes right now, go right ahead.
You just included this as something we all have, and I was racking my brain. I was like, a penis?
Why did this episode get so weird?
No Gavin.
Welcome back, everybody.
We don't have a Gavin filter.
Oh, that's it. We got to bring it up because there's no Gavin this time. All right.
Oh, Gavin.
So, She-Hulk. What is it? The People versus Emil Blonsky. And we get Wong. Wong shows up. Hey, everybody. Wong's here.
Yay, Wong.
The Sorcerer Supreme, who's really just a librarian.
Now, I like the fact they even mentioned his second job is a librarian.
I thought that was amusing. I'll give it that.
Now, here's my question. Does that mean he's still the librarian at Kamatesh as well as being the Sorcerer Supreme? It's like Sorcerer Supreme isn't like a full-time job. He's like, I have my side job still.
It kind of seems like that. And it kind of takes away from Doctor Strange. And that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah,
I won't get into it.
Doctor Strange's like, oh, my hands, I can't work, but I get to be Sorcerer Supreme. Screw you, buddy. You can flip burgers. Come on.
One thing where he threw in the whole thing about the memory wipe. It's like, do we have to memory wipe everybody again? It's like, what? That's unethical. Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, that was kind of cool. That was kind of neat.
They had some nice little thing. I like the cutaway she did when she was driving the car. Like, I know you guys want to see Wong.
And the fact that she took her hands off the wheels too and all that was
okay.
So good.
I have a huge thing to say about that, and we might as well get right to it.
Sure.
So Ian Fleming, right, the writer of James Bond,
mm-hmm.
He came up with a whole list of like truths. I think it was like 13 truths. One of them was, anytime you see two females in the front seat of a motor car, be wary of that. And I forget which book it was in. I think it was Her Majesty's Secret Service. Anyways, it was in that book and it was brilliant. But the idea is, if you have two females in the front seat of a car, they're going to be talking and they have to look at each other while they're talking. And that's dangerous. And the only thing worse than that is if there's people in the back seat, because that means they're going to be looking to the back seat and talking. Okay, it's old school chauvinistic and not appropriate for the times. But when that scene
because it's Ian Fleming you're talking about.
Yeah, he's
right. Ian Fleming is amazing. He's one of my favorite authors. But when She-Hulk was doing that, she was turning to the right.
Not just turning. She put both arms on the seat rest beside her.
I know. It's like, this is what Ian Fleming was talking about.
Now, I'm going to do a quick aside because this will be a fun thing in the YouTube version. We got to start throwing different things.
Okay.
Did you guys watch the trailer for the movie Blackbird?
Yes, I just finished watching it a couple of minutes ago.
Michael Flatley, the Lord of the Dance. Now, this movie was supposed to come out like 3 years ago. I don't know why they held it up.
Actually, it looks like an Ian Fleming sort of.
Well, it looks like he wants to be James Bond, but also at the same time is incapable of putting on a hat perfectly horizontally. Everything has to have
It's
that
that
rakish
it's that
angle.
cloth. It's that cloth dude that he has.
Even at his own wife's wedding, like a funeral, his hat's at that rakish angle, like he's trying to pick up one of the other hot widow babes. I'm just like, this trailer, it touched me in ways that horrify me. Just because it's like, I've never seen a movie trailer that bad that you can say, oh, I think he wants to be James Bond, but he's neither suave nor debonair. And why
He's got the
isn't he
white
dancing?
tuxedo. He's got the white tuxedo at least.
Why isn't he dancing? I mean, it just looked like they just took all the choice scenes out of all the 25 plus James Bond films and were like, let's put him in there. And then the quality of acting when he's actually delivering a line. I honestly think they could have taken a paper plate and drawn an angry face on it in a Sharpie marker and just held it up, and it would have done a better job. This is a steaming pile. And the fact is, he made the movie himself. Is a big indicator that, this was never meant to be made. Anyways, She-Hulk.
But no,
What's the name of that movie? Say it again.
No.
Oh, Blackbird. You've got to see it.
Blackbird.
Okay.
Blackbird.
Yeah, you can't drop the fact that friggin' Eric Roberts is the bad guy in this movie.
How many
Who
movies
actually
has
looks
that man
kinda
been a
suave.
bad guy in?
Who actually looks kind of suave in this sort of thing. But then again, he is going up against Michael Flatley. So
But the thing is, how many movies has he been the bad guy in? Like
most of them.
just about anything that was direct to video.
Yeah.
No,
for sure.
it's like
a lot
if
of
his
early
name's on the
career-
marquee, you're like, he's the villain.
A lot of early career, he was the leading guy, but no, he quickly went into the bad guy, into the
And this movie was written and directed by Michael Flatley, also starring Michael Flatley. And just like, oh my god, maybe he's using all that Lord of the Dance money to make this, but it was just horrible beyond belief. Really, really horrible. So if you're listening and you're near a computer, pause right now, watch the trailer, give yourself another extra 5 minutes to stop laughing, and then you can restart the podcast. Because I watched that trailer and it was a good thing. I mean, my kids actually came to the computer to see what I was laughing so hard about. It's one of those movies that you're like,
and don't worry, we'll still be here when you come back. So
yeah. It was one of those movies you're just like, why is this necessary? But he felt it was. Good on him, I guess. I don't know.
Anyways, back to She-Hulk.
So this one was nice because they had an A story and B story, which they even made light of the fact that, here's the two stories combined, where a former colleague of hers from the DA office, hold on, what's his name again? Dennis Walowski, thinks he's dating Megan Thee Stallion. Turns out it's a light elf from Asgard, or New Asgard, who has tricked him out of $175,000. Which is, I mean, it's a nice way of tying in, like, what are all the people of New Asgard doing? And are they all just, Asgardians, or did some of the other, races come along? And it was nice to see that, I love the line, he calls himself a New York 10 and an LA 11. It was such a beautiful line. But we also got to see the Wrecking Crew showed up at the end.
That was kind of nice. Yes. It's kind of neat because I'm actually watching this series along with both Adrian and our 6-year-old, and they're both getting a kick out of the whole entire thing. And they're like, Aslan's like, who are these guys? And I'm like, oh, that's the Wrecking Crew.
Yes.
Can't explain anything more than that to a 6-year-old.
Far more effective in the comic books than they were here. I kind of had some fun with the episode, and then the end credit scene, which as some people have lost their mind over. I was a
little triggered by it.
Of course you were, Michael.
I actually had to. It wasn't until the closing credits that I thought, is this Megan the Stallion an actual person? All that, and it turns out, okay, I have no idea who this person was that they were talking about, and then her name shows up at the closing credits as playing herself. I'm like, okay, she's a real person. All right.
I have a question for you, Mike. Actually, I'm going to set up a hypothetical situation, and I want your take on it. So It was
I
just
like twerking.
all right.
Oh, wait, was that the wrong answer?
No, that's fine. That's a great answer. No, so it was just announced that Florence Pugh's character of Yelena will be the lead in the upcoming Thunderbolts movie for the MCU.
Okay.
Anyways, I know your daughter's an actress.
Yep.
If she came home, after Labor Day and said, Dad, I got a role.
Okay.
They're doing a Widows series on Disney Plus with like Yelena and a couple other widows. And
I like Pew Pew.
Yeah, and she's been hired as the fifth widow. It's a team of 5 widows.
Yep.
You got Yelena, a black woman, a Chinese woman, say a Polynesian woman, and your daughter.
Yep.
They're also going to have Kate Bishop show up. They're also going to have She-Hulk show up in the show. So
Yep.
predominantly the cast and supporting cast are female. Would you rag on it? Would you say, oh, it's the MCU and not watch it, or would you support your daughter?
I would support my daughter. I would be curious about the script if they're all Black Widows, because that should be Russian. So
Not necessarily.
you would think.
Well,
Now,
they took, but the thing is, you got to remember the population of Russia is not all like white Russian people.
okay, fair enough. So if the script was strong, that explained like how they bring the people in to train them to be the widows. And again, it's like if it's
Oh, well, they're already trained. They're already trained. She's just the characters are 4 of them are already full-fledged widows, and
Yep.
your daughter's character is a widow in training, and they're going around basically cleaning up some of Natasha's assignments that she never got to finish because she died.
Okay, so far this sounds pretty awesome. So what's the question?
So your daughter comes home, and it's a very female-heavy series. For the
I'm
MCU.
fine with female heavy. I have no problem with that.
You wouldn't be triggered at all?
No,
Okay.
no, I like strong female characters. Again, I'm a father of 2 daughters, have a wife, all that kind of stuff. Like I appreciate the feminine.
Okay.
But my point is I don't like when they squash the masculine. So if it was a movie where these 5 female widows were saying, oh my God, we're so much better than Captain America. Yeah, Captain America sucks so much because we are the best. Okay, that would bother me.
Now, what if they were ragging on Hawkeye, especially in the Kate Bishop episodes, going, well, obviously he couldn't do this. So, the 5 widows are taking down stuff that when he was in S.H.I.E.L.D. he couldn't do.
Okay, there's an interesting historical story, and I don't have the facts because this was thrown at me, randomly.
Mhm.
But there was, if I remember right, it was like a Russian assassination squad that was all females.
Mhm.
So these female snipers that would just wreck everybody.
Yeah.
And to me, that reminds me of the Black Widows, right? And that's historical fact. It's just these like savage Russian female snipers that would just wreck everyone. And like that's an amazing story. That's interesting. And it actually makes sense. It's not like they're going in hand-to-hand combat with people. No, it's like because the communists, they would pull in all the like everybody was equal and you had to do your part. So this female assassination squad were a bunch of savages.
Now, I'll raise you one better. In World War II, there was a group of female pilots called the Night Witches. They were a Russian squadron, all female. But because, at the time, Russia was kind of strapped for equipment, manpower, just about everything. They got like World War I planes, but still managed to pull off all the missions given to them. They ended up being not as highly decorated as they should have been, but it's a case of, a lot of people didn't think that, even their own superior officers didn't think they were going to be able to pull off these missions. And they did, but they are known as the Night Witches. If you look them up on Wikipedia, it's a really interesting read.
Okay, that sounds awesome. So, and that's the kind of stories that I love because it's real. It's like, yeah, it's not, again, denigrating the masculine. It's like, no, this is what women can do. Like, we can actually go out there, we can kick ass, we can destroy everybody. And, with a wife who's a mother to 5 children, you see the mother bear come out. and you can see like when the mother bear is defending their children, like yeah, they turn into Wolverine. You're like, shink, the claws come out, and they take people down.
Or like Lady
I have-
Deathstroke, because they use their fingernails. And
Yeah, oh yeah, she got her nails done. Shink.
now I'm going to say, with that statement, we don't have to worry about two women sitting in the front seats as they're driving anymore. Then
I still think there might be some facts in that.
I don't know. I've been in both scenarios where it's two women at the front and we did fine. Other times where it was like, I'm going to die. I'm sitting in the back seat thinking, if I tuck and roll now, I could probably live through this.
You gotta go loose. You gotta go loose. You gotta go loose. You can't tighten up. You gotta go loose.
Yeah, go limp. Ugh.
But the idea with the Ian Fleming thing is you have to make eye contact while you're talking. So when you're driving, you have to look while you're talking.
But look at any Hollywood movie or any TV show. The guy's driving along and he's like,
yeah.
His hands are sawing the wheel so much you'd swear the car would be just going from lane to lane continuously. But the behind them perfectly straight. I think they need to tell actors you don't need to saw the wheel while you're driving. The car's on a trailer anyway.
But I also got to point out the whole entire scene from Strange Brew, where the two of them are driving down friggin' the streets of Toronto, headed towards the lake, and the brakes go out, and there's no use steering now, and they're like, you hold on to that, and they're just, because part of the conversation is, you know how they actually like look at each other, and they have a conversation, look at each other, and they realize, oh wait. So I mean, again, this particular sequence in this episode of She-Hulk is played up to the character's whim of the She-Hulk breaking down the fourth wall again. It's
and I will say that this episode, because I was complaining about the way she was breaking the fourth wall before, this one started to feel a little bit more John Byrne. It was like, she's saying, oh, there's a guest star and there's this, but it's still my show. That started to feel a little bit more like the comic.
I also liked when her legal aid and the other lawyer sits down and she just kind of pops her head into the side of the screen and says, now this is where the A story and B story connect, and right back out.
Yeah, and you are right, Mike. It's definitely the way that this particular episode was pulled off. It definitely felt more, the Jennifer Walters felt more of a classic John Byrne version. But I have a quick question. I haven't been able to find anything in research. I'm pretty sure it's out there, but is it me, or was it only when it was She-Hulk that could break the fourth wall? I don't remember coming across any Jennifer Walters breaking the fourth wall, which I understand why they did it for this, because it's expensive to do 3D all the time.
Yeah, I remember it being She-Hulk.
Yeah, I remember being She-Hulk only. I don't remember her as Jennifer Walters ever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, I understand.
I think as She-Hulk, she has that extra awareness and like, oh, wait a second. So.
But I think the reason they did it for the series is because, having only the CG character talking to the screen, it's a lot more expensive.
At that point, you're just opening the wallet and throwing a lit match in. Like,
let's give Tatiana her actual self as much screen time as possible. So that's the only reason why I think it is. But so I was pretty much, I don't remember Jennifer Walters doing this.
Interesting note, this episode was written, it was a different writing team on this episode than the first two episodes. So that might have been why there's a slight shift in tone. I think there's a little bit more humor in this episode. Again, Tim Roth steals every goddamn scene he's in. Like, just even when he's supposed to be calm and zen, he's just stealing the scene. You're just automatically drawn to him when he starts talking, because he is such a great actor.
Yeah, that was my favorite part, actually, in this whole series so far, is anything Tim Roth Abomination, because most of the series I'm kind of tapped out. Like I'm the party pooper in this conversation, but anytime he was on screen, I love that narrative. I like what they did with the story. I like how he's writing haiku to people, and I like how it's like, no, I could actually turn into Abomination. I'm fine. He turns into Abomination. Everybody freaks out.
That sequence was amazing because you saw him when he took off his shoes, turned into Abomination, and then picked up his shoes and moved them out of the way so he wouldn't ruin them. That was such a clever little character moment that he's not there to rampage. He's like, no, don't want to ruin these shoes. I like these. I like these white Crocs.
Yeah, and then we get back into those.
Yeah, and then he's like throwing what looks like a tiny little towel around his shoulders, and then and then immediately steps into the shoes again.
Yeah, Blonsky's transformation was just fantastic, and it was nice to see that they were able to pull it off as beautifully as they did. And yes, again, you definitely can see his face in that CG character, which is fantastic.
Yeah,
which is, and
unlike
it's just a fun.
The Norton movie where I don't know who they were trying to model the
Yeah,
Omniscience
no,
face
no.
on, but
Again,
it wasn't Roth.
yeah,
Wasn't
no,
Tim Roth at all.
No, it wasn't even Ed Norton either. I mean, I think technically it was, but they just stretched it the wrong way over but it's just this. I mean, again, we're also talking 12 years difference of just technology alone. So I mean, but yeah, it was nice to see that. And then again, them trying to arrest Wong at the end of that. Well, gotta go. That is just a beautiful exit.
Good old Wong.
Yeah.
Are we done with She-Hulk now?
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to more. Nice that this was a little more than a half hour episode, which is kind of nice because last week was just under a half hour. This one's just over a half hour. So as long as the story is as entertaining as it is so far, I myself am enjoying it. So I am definitely looking forward to more. I mean, I've also was going to enjoy it because Tatiana Maslany, if you've seen anything that she's done before, Orphan Black is fantastic. The fact that she was able to portray at the very least like 4 different characters in a scene, like just editing between like takes and doubles and superimposed herself in different sequences. She plays, I think, 12 characters in all throughout the whole entire series. But she's just
and each
a
one
fantastic
is
actress.
Each character,
yeah.
Just from speech patterns to the way they stand, the way they walk, the way they move, it's a distinct character.
Yeah, and then when she even has a couple of the characters have to imitate other characters, and you can see that it's that original character doing an impression of the other character. It's just she's a fantastic actress, and she should get all the accolades because like she's just fantastic. But yes, I like when I heard that she was signed on as She-Hulk, I'm like, oh, I could see her pulling off both the Jennifer Walters and the She-Hulk but it's kind of nice because the She-Hulk and the Jennifer are really kind of similar, which they really weren't in the comic because
they're similar, but She-Hulk has more confidence.
Oh no, for sure. And it's her being She-Hulk is what's giving it to her.
I think kind of helps.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So what I wanted to say to you, Troy, because you had mentioned that in the little like text overlays last week with the whole, it's like she didn't want to be She-Hulk, but I went back and read Savage She-Hulk, and she took to the name pretty quick in that. You know, she was called that. It's like, fine, then, whatever Jennifer Walters can't do, the Savage She-Hulk can do, or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
But
it did
pretty quick. So when you were saying that she didn't like the name, where did that come from?
Well, she herself as Jennifer, because again, it's at one point in her history, Jennifer gets hit with enough dose of a radiation, which I can't remember what it is. It's, I think, in her graphic novel that she had, where she was dosed with so much radiation that she is permanently stuck in the She-Hulk form, which obviously they retconned to change later and all that. So she was stuck in the Jennifer form for like several years and all that. But prior to that, she was having to deal with because John Byrne didn't do the Savage She-Hulk.
Right.
It was only slightly after when they started to bring in the element of the comedy and all that. Sensational She-Hulk, exactly. Yeah, and then the all new She-Hulk. She didn't want to. She more than I realized what I had said was slightly misrepresented, as she didn't want to be the superhero that Jennifer in the Disney series didn't want to be a superhero, and Jennifer Walters was reluctant to be a superhero. So I apologize for not wanting to. She basically did. Yes, she adapted the name of She-Hulk as early as her first transformation, and which I did not realize until doing my research much later, that I realized after I'd already put off that video that it's like, oh, I was mistaken. So I wasn't going to. So I apologize, Michael, if it sounded like I was trouncing you, but no, I did have the wrong information, and I admit that. But it was the fact.
That's why we have these conversations.
Yeah, no,
Again,
it was the
this is
fact.
like pre-pick stuff. This
I
is
had-
like back
yeah.
before Google. Where
Exactly.
it's like,
But
I had information. No,
yeah,
you
no,
don't.
I had my perception of it wrong. I thought it was the name that she is, but she was trying to reject the actual super.
Yeah, she didn't want to be a hero.
Yeah, she didn't want to be the hero. So I apologize for that. Yes, no, that was definitely an oopsie on my part. So yeah.
We can fix it in post.
Yeah, well, definitely. Yeah. Unfortunately, the post was well after it was well posted. And
Well,
so
we'll
I'm
do
not
the
going
post
back
after
that.
the post.
Yeah,
After the post.
we'll fix it in post. The special edition. We'll
Post.
we work at
Yeah.
the special edition. You know, when
You're
Jabba the
gonna
Hutt
Lucas
shows up.
this thing.
Yeah, we'll Lucas episode 50 at one point.
We'll
So yeah.
sweet it later. So for Amazon on Friday released their new series, what they call their Game of Thrones killer that they had requested 5 years ago. Bezos wanted it 5 years ago. Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. Basically talking about Galadriel and Elrond and all those people when they were much younger. And this is actually, a lot of it comes out of, this is before the Hobbits became Hobbits. And this is actually based off of a small blurb of, there's something, a note about Hobbits. There was this whole section Tolkien wrote about how halflings eventually became hobbits, or how a section of them kind of
Broke off
and became what are known as hobbits. And so this whole series kind of takes place during that timeline, like during that schism between halflings and turning into hobbits,
which is like 1,000 years prior to what we
I think it's more. I think it's
what was
it's a long time.
So
at this point, Galadriel's not like the big sorceress that we know her in Lord of the Rings. She's still a frontline fighter. Sauron he's not even the big bad at this point, or he wasn't at the time. He was like the big bad's chief lieutenant, who's kind of split off because the big bad's been destroyed, but now he's kind of taking over and doing his thing.
Yeah, what's the big bad's name? I can't remember.
God, I cannot remember his name.
Okay, keep talking. I'll find it.
Anyways, so this is also, I believe this part of this series is going to talk about the forging of the rings, the rings of power for mankind, the rings of power for the dwarves, the elves, and Sauron secretly making his ring that controls all the others, and I guess corrupting the human kings into the ring wraiths. Part of the huge lore that is Lord of the Rings.
Right.
Then we have
the lore that is the lore.
Yeah. Then we have this series, and I have to say, the very first episode, Shadow of the Past, was one of the hardest episodes to get through. Oh my God, it felt like wading through molasses up to your waist with someone saying, no, the really good stuff's just up ahead. Just don't stop. And you're like, holy cow, do I have to keep going? I know they want to pack as much lore in as they go, but they've got 8 episodes. This is like Bezos money. It's not like he's going to suddenly go, oh crap, I'm bankrupt. Guys, we got to cut it. We're done. He's going to be able to bankroll it. He wanted this to be like Game of Thrones, like 6, 7, 8 seasons long. You don't need to try to tell everything in the very first episode. Holy
ouch.
shit. It took forever. I was like, I'm watching a scene, I look down at the counter, like, it's moved. It feels like I've been there an hour and it's moved like a minute. And I'm like, oh God, I'm going to be here like all day on this one and they released 2 episodes at once.
Okay.
I haven't even started the second episode because I'm almost to the end of the first, and it's like you break out in a sweat, like you've been like being dragged through a marathon. You're not even getting to run the marathon. Someone's got you by the back of the neck, and they're dragging you unwillingly through this whole goddamn marathon.
Dude, it's a 90-minute episode.
I know, and it just
is this an endorsement? I can't tell.
No. So far, I mean, I'll see. I'll try to get to the end of this episode. I'm going to try to see the next episode. Maybe it picks up. I mean, the trailer shows some actual action going on, some excitement. People not just standing in like 2 talking heads, like doing more than just talking and talking and talking and talking and talking. Like in theory, there is some action. There's some some showing and not just telling us. So yeah.
But does it look impressive? Does it look like they spent $58 million an episode?
Yes, it does.
Okay. I mean from the trailer alone, it looks like it.
Visually, it looks great. Yeah. They have
they spend all the money, but it's all crap.
Yeah, they have a ton of lore to pull from. I think it's just a case of the editing of this first episode really needed to be tightened up.
Okay.
They need to realize they don't need to introduce all the core stories from the very first episode. They could have one core story and maybe one or two secondary, throw in the next core in the next episode and go from there. They don't need to show us all the core stories in the very first episode. It just slowed it way, way too far down.
And if I'm not mistaken, did they not already agree that it was going to be at the very least 2 seasons?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, and like the total, I just did basically cost Amazon a staggering $462 million to make.
Again,
So, yeah,
we're talking about Bezos, whose personal fortune is over $100 billion.
Yeah.
This
if he wants to see it, he'll see it.
Yeah, this is like us going, I think I want to go buy a coffee at Starbucks. That's about the same level of money what he spent on this for him. Like
I think I want to buy Starbucks.
Yeah, he could. So yeah, it's not like, I think I want a Starbucks. It's like, I'm gonna buy that franchise. No, I'm gonna buy all the Starbucks in the city. Fuck it, I'm gonna buy Starbucks. And he could do it. So yeah, it's as I said, it's not like he's gonna run out of money. This is gonna stretch out a while. So
right.
Yeah.
Melkor. Is that the name?
I think so. It's been a while.
I'm pretty sure Melkor is the one is above Sauron.
Oh, so it's okay. Like I have no lore of friggin' Lord of the Rings other than the 3 movies.
So Sauron's like Darth Vader.
Yeah. I was about to say
they get rid of the Emperor, but imagine then Vader steps into the Emperor's shoes and takes over.
Right. Yeah. No, I kind of figured that. That's basically, I was just about to say that. I was actually going to use Star Wars as a reference. Go figure. Huh?
Star Wars as a reference on this podcast.
How weird is
shocking.
that?
Inconceivable.
How could we? All right. So that's She-Hulk, Lord of the Rings.
Hey, how about that Spider-Man No Way Home More Fun edition being released this week in theaters, huh? Come on, you want to go out and watch the movie one more time for 11 more minutes of footage. Like, more fun edition? Like, I don't understand. I mean, it's...
To be fair, I watched it in a drive-in in the middle of Canadian winter with high beams on, so I might actually go do that.
Okay, if that was that might be the reason it goes. Oh, that's right, because it was released in the wintertime, wasn't it? Yeah.
Oh yes, it was. There's a lot of cold toes in Canada watching that one.
That's right. Yeah, because theaters were still the movie theaters were stupidly open late last year, weren't they? Just because they could get people out in the theaters, because movie theaters were just opening then. So,
I think they were pretty strange back then.
Yeah.
Strange times.
Wow. Anyways, it just depends on what version is good, because it's already out on Blu-ray and DVD and all that sort of thing. So are they going to release another version?
Probably.
Well, because it's not being carried on Disney Plus, so it'll be on whatever it's Netflix, I think it is.
Stars.
No, because it's still Sony. It wouldn't go to Disney at all.
No, that's what I'm saying. It'll go to Stars here.
Stars there. Oh, Stars. Sorry. Duh. Yeah. No, I was thinking Hulu. Sorry, I had Hulu stuck in my head.
Hulu is still part of Disney, so.
Yeah. Because in Canada, our Hulu we get on Disney Plus. You guys have it 2 separate things because the US sucks. So what are we going to talk about now? We got I noticed you guys were keeping up with the Harley Quinn there, Trevor. I know you were keeping up with the Harley Quinn. Have you been watching?
I haven't seen the last couple of episodes. It just, things have been kind of chaotic here. A lot of banging is getting the siding redone, but I don't know if you guys saw. I know we played a lot in college, Cyberpunk, and there's now a Cyberpunk Edgerunner coming to Netflix.
Yes, let's go with that.
Looks like a lot of traditional animation with a lot of computer stuff added in, and this kind of feels like the games we played in college. This is also very violent, which I have no problems with.
Definitely not safe for work.
Not
There
safe
was
for
a couple
work.
scenes where I was watching the trailer. It's like, wait a second, did I just see skip back? Yes, I did. How is this in the trailer? Not safe for work. Oh, that's why. Okay, got it.
And it's starting soon, September 13th, which is just around the corner for us.
Just around the corner. Yes,
So,
exactly.
like, what, 9 days away? So just over a week away, or a week and a bit away. So yeah, I watched this. Now this was done also by the same guys that did the whatchamacallit, the
Whatchamacallit?
yeah, the game. This is use a lot of their source material and stuff like that. I mean, this is kind of what they want to do with Cyberpunk game. They would release expansion packs that would kind of be like these episodes, but because it had to be released early and that thing was so goddamn buggy, I don't think it's gonna. So I didn't think it was gonna ever happen. But when this came out, this again showed up in my feed. I was like, "Ooh, what's this? Hope it's good." Hit play and went, have to share it with the guys because yes, it was definitely fun.
I am glad you shared because that wasn't on my radar at all. And like I said last week, Blade
Exactly.
Runner,
Yeah.
one of my top films of all time, Akira, number 11. The cyberpunk genre is, huge in my heart for favorite things of all time. And those cyberpunk adventures back in college were epic. So seeing this, it was kind of interesting because it reminded me a lot of that Star Wars Visions, where it's kind of like its own take, and it's not quite the Blade Runner, not quite the Akira. It's a lot more anime, but then again, you always had the stuff like Ghost in the Shell and Appleseed and all these kind of Bubblegum Crisis, all these things that are like full on anime cyberpunk. Yeah. So it does capture a lot of that element. And I'm kind of excited to see it. There's enough stuff in there that, I want to watch it.
Yeah, this is also, it's CD Projekt Red is the name of the company who did Cyberpunk 2077, the game. They're producing this. This was supposed to actually, I think, come out earlier. Again, they were thinking this is around the time the game was originally supposed to be released. So this was supposed to coincide with the release of the game. They would release all this stuff. I think this was actually supposed to come out first, and then the game was supposed to come out like in October, but then it ended up getting released early.
Then they decided to sell some games first.
Well, I mean, they got pressured into it by the publishing company who said, release it now. You have to release it now. And they're like, it doesn't work. We don't care. Release it now. And then, it got horribly reviewed on Steam because it didn't work. There were so many computers that it didn't work on.
Yeah. Did you guys ever play that game?
I tried it. It's the parts that work so well. You can see where they were going with this, but this game was maybe 60 to 70% complete.
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing. I think John Allen was playing it when it first came out, and he was he was loving how buggy it was. But it was like Trevor said, it was just forced out there way before it was even the patches that came afterwards just weren't enough to.
It was like Band-Aids over like an open chest wound. It's just like you just throw like a box of Band-Aids on top of a Geeking chest wound. It's the thing is, I have a feeling what we're going to see with this series is really kit. Because you can see in the game itself, it's like, oh, this thing's really cool, and then it's like, it kind of feels like, here's point A, here's point B, we're done, that's the mission. Whereas like it looks like they could have gone like point A, B, C, D, E, F, G, nice twisting way to show off to the city, but they're like, we just had to quickly wrap it up and ship it out. So which is unfortunate. Yeah. So as this came on, I had to share it with you guys because
for sure.
I had all the memories of playing Cyberpunk back in college just came roaring back in watching this. I'm like, oh hell yeah.
Yeah, I love the fact that it looks like traditional anime, hand-drawn animation with a lot of the beautiful. I love the fact that the whole entire trailer is backdropped by this friggin' rock opera version of Ode to Joy, which is fantastic. And again, definitely, you're right, Mike. Not safe for work, for sure. Yeah.
The picture of you guys was the not safe for work version trailer. The safe for working trailer. I was like, who's gonna watch it?
Exactly. Who's gonna want to watch?
Like,
why?
Like, what? No, watch the one that's like 2 minutes long.
I mean, we're of age. I mean, maturity not, but of age we are, so we can watch whatever the hell we want.
Chronologically, I'm old enough.
We're good at watching immature things.
Yeah, mature-wise, 8. Boobies.
Okay, speaking of Cyberpunk, did you guys ever watch The Altered Carbon?
Yes, definitely. Yes. Yeah.
So, what do you think of that? Because personally, that's a series I wanted to like so bad, but it didn't land for me.
They dropped the ball.
It totally did. It was such a fantastic the world was well built, the characters were beautifully structured, but something happened, like they didn't have a way to wrap up. Now, I didn't see second season. I didn't get around to the second season. I don't think I wanted to give it a chance after.
Yeah, I
the
bailed
way-
on second season. I
Yeah,
tried,
yeah.
and I was like,
watched-
"Oh, this is
I
worse than
watched the first episode of the second season. I was like, this is just more of the same.
Yeah.
It's Anthony Mackie though in the second season, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, we got friggin' Falcon, which is, I mean, he's a fantastic actor, but again,
he battled Eminem, dude.
He did. It was so tough to watch because it was like, they had a story there, but I think a lot of it was the editing and the direction of the editing didn't lend itself well to tell the story. It was like it felt like we were only getting half the story at times.
It seemed like something was missing. Yeah, we were also missing like a chapter or something, or part of a chapter every single.
A friend of mine who also watched this series said it was like being told a story by a 6-year-old who just had his very first can of Coke, but also needs to pee. So he wants to tell you the story.
Good. Yeah, but has to pee. That has to pee.
Wait,
yes.
6-year-old that just sniffed his first line of Coke.
Tell you the story.
Is that what you said?
And I was like, that's a really good. That's Dave's best way to describe the storytelling style. 6-year-old high, he's got sugar high from his very first Coke, like Coca-Cola, and and then realizes he really has to pee. And that's what it felt like. It's just, I'm trying to blast you with as much information of the story as I can in the shortest amount of time, but I gotta go. So I'll tell you something, and I forgot something, and I got something. And then that's what Altered Carbon felt like when I watched it. It was just like such a
yeah.
It's like,
but again,
same here. It's like there's so much there. There's so many visuals.
Yeah.
There's like everything's there, but it's just not like it falls flat. It falls apart.
Fumbled on the goal line. It just fumbled it on the goal line.
And honestly, I mean, looking at the if you were to re-edit some of the shots so they play out longer. I think it's there. I think it was just the editor dropped the ball the way they started, trying to do that quick cutting style to make it feel like it's full of action when it's not. I think that kind of hurt it. So
yeah, and I think there was some story stuff lacking as well, right? Where you have all the visual spectacle, you have all the technology, you have all there's everything in place.
Yeah.
But I think where does it go? What story are you telling?
Yeah, I think what's happened is some of the story elements got left in basically, snipped off during editing, and we were left to try to piece it together ourselves. It's like you get characters like, this is the plan. Do we discuss it? No, that's the last thing. Well, that was a presenting process.
That's one where we kind of brought this up with the whole top 10 thing, where my favorite stories are the ones I'm most critical against. And again, Blade Runner, one of my favorite of all time. So when you do something in that element, I'm going to be super critical on it. So when something like Altered Carbon comes out, I'm going to be judging that against Blade Runner, which is one of my favorites. So same with this Cyberpunk anime thing that's coming out. It's like, I hope it's good, but I'm going to be comparing that against some, something to match. So we'll see. Hopefully it's good.
Yeah. Now, Gavin dropped a trailer for an upcoming series.
I thought you were going to say an F-bomb.
No, he dropped. That's not news. No, he dropped a trailer to us for an upcoming series called The Imperfects. And this is like a coming of age story where I don't know if you guys have seen it. Basically, it's
I didn't see it.
Some 20-somethings are turning into monsters. One's turning into Chupacabra. One's a succubus.
And the other one's Banshee. Yeah.
And they realize.
Oh yes, I did watch the trailer as well.
Yes, so. And they also realize that the person who did the experiments is going bigger. A wider test field, and they're like they want to stop him before he turns everyone into monsters. Some of the visuals look kind of interesting. Even just the premise kind of caught me a bit. I was like, oh, this might be something to check out. So yeah, Banshee, succubus, Chupacabra, which kind of looks pretty good. Like the transformation, the eyes, and then his final form.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, he definitely has like a, hey, this was made in Canada feel to it.
This was made in Nova Scotia feel to it. That's what it has. Definitely, if you're watching,
Yeah, I guess it does. Yeah, it's definitely not Vancouver. It's definitely
Yeah.
not Vancouver. Yeah, it could be Nova Scotia. Well,
Yeah.
Nova Scotia's been actually getting pretty big lately for doing that sort of thing because again, it's an environment that not a lot of people have seen before. It has its big cities, it has its small little cities, it has its own water side, so you can disguise it as almost anywhere, which is kind of nice.
Now, I'm just going to say for the people, if you do watch it, make sure you turn like the true motion or the motion smoothing, turn that off. Otherwise, it's going to feel like 1980s Canadian broadcast TV, where like the little solo sort of stuff, like just you feel like you're watching like high video, and you're like, God, did they know what motion blur is yet? So yeah.
But it definitely looks interesting. And this is it a theatrical release? Is it?
Netflix. It's a series.
It's a Netflix, right? Series. Sorry, I apologize. Yes. So, I mean, it might turn into like a Monster of the Week sort of thing, or it'll probably be the series that they probably should have had the New Mutants be. I mean, it looks like the concept. I mean, if you guys have seen New Mutants, I mean, it's on Disney Plus.
I wish I hadn't
seen it.
Yeah,
I mean, I really wish I hadn't.
Yeah, the concept was strong, and just the execution was horrible.
That's being polite, calling it horrible.
Yeah, I know. I mean, there's little Grogu's in the room right now, so I'm gonna try and keep my language down to a minimum. But yeah,
it was crap.
But yeah, it was pretty crap. It was pretty crap. And unfortunately, they butchered some very strong characters, which is characters that I collected when they first came out. That's how long I've known these characters, and to see the thing that we saw in that.
What was the worst butchered? Because I didn't see it. Throw some shade there, Troy.
It was. I mean, again, it's nothing that we should really harping on because it doesn't deserve the time to do it. But again, the Imperfects looks like it's probably going to be the better version of the New Mutants. Yeah. And again,
I still want to know, what was the worst New Mutant?
The worst New Mutant out of the movie or the actual New Mutants themselves?
Whatever we're talking.
I would say Cannonball was probably the worst one.
Oh yeah.
Because they just did not. I mean, he kept injuring himself, first of all, and it was what's his face, the photography kid from Stranger Things, the brother that he played Cannonball, and definitely not had. I mean, obviously I have the image of what the comic book looked like, and I mean, Wolfsbane was okay because she was kind of close to the character. The image, Mirage was pretty good because again, they casted properly to that, but again, not even, I guess. Yeah, Magic was okay. Her Russian accent wasn't really there.
No, her accent was all over the place, and her powers were all over the place.
Yeah, the friggin' stuffed Lockneed was a disappointment. There was no friggin' dragon yet.
Stuffed
had Lockneed. Yeah, it was a stuffed toy. She referred to as Lockneed. She carried it around as a teddy bear. And like there was not even a badly computer generated dragon. No, it was just this stuffed animal that she kept calling Lockneed. It was so disappointing. And no mention that she had a brother. So it's not even like they were trying to involve it in the. Okay, see, I said we shouldn't go off on this, but I guess
now you are.
We are. See, this is why this podcast is so great, because I learned things.
Yeah,
you didn't want to learn about this movie, honestly. It was a huge waste of time,
and it was like a haunted house sort of situation. The kids are trapped inside.
Film.
Yeah, they tried. If they had made it a straight out horror film, would have been great, but it just was not. Again, it went through production hell. It went through post-production, pre-production. It got caught in the shuffle between Sony and Fox and Disney Plus buying out Fox stuff and all that. So it just got shuffled around, and it basically got to the point where, hey, we got to get this movie out there. It's going to cost us money just to hold on to it. So they just threw out like the 6th or 7th edit of the movie and all that. So
they should have pulled a Warner Brothers and just shelved it, deleted it, and got the tax credit.
Tax write-off. Done.
Honestly, that's how bad that film is.
Yeah. Hell, you know what's doing really good right now? I'm just gonna throw back to Harley Quinn. The friggin' The third season has a fantastic storyline of Barbara Gordon and Batgirl, who's playing Batgirl throughout quite a few episodes on all that sort of thing. It's
Wait,
so
Barbara
well done.
Gordon and Batgirl?
No, as Batgirl.
As
Oh,
Batgirl.
as
She plays,
Batgirl.
yeah. Barbara
Okay.
Gordon is in
That
it,
makes more
but she
sense.
also portrays, obviously, she portrays.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but she's like thinks she's buddies with Harley Quinn and whatnot, and Harley's like, no, you're my enemy, and then like, okay, fine, I'm gonna give you a hand to help you out of this situation with Mad Hatter and all that sort of thing. But no, I mean, it's a strong character, and friggin' Warner Brothers should have just like, no, put that stupid friggin'. You would make more money than you would be getting in this tax credit. There's no doubt that you wouldn't. You would just have a complete female audience that would want to see this movie. And the fact that you had such amazing writers and a director behind it, you had friggin' Brendan Fraser coming back as a bad guy. You had Michael Keaton as Batman. I mean, it's just like you just threw away probably, I would not say 3 times, but at least double what you were getting from that tax credit. No problem whatsoever. But it's just,
unless the movie was really bad.
Even then, they still would have made their money. They
yes,
still made,
just
they
people
would
would
have
have
made more
went to
than what
see
they got
it.
on the tax credit.
People go out and see bad movies, especially Warner Brother movies. I'll admit it. I went to see Justice League in the theaters. I went to see friggin' Batman versus Superman in the theaters. I went to see
what did you
Suicide Squad. I went to see Suicide Squad in the theaters. I mean,
Wait,
they were
the Suicide Squad or
No, Suicide Squad. First one.
Suicide Squad, the first one.
Oh,
Yeah.
Suicide Squad.
No. I did not. I would have said the Suicide Squad. The Suicide Squad
that was pretty good.
Fucking tastic. But no, I mean, people would have paid money to go see this, and because again, you throw in, you're bringing. Okay, again, it's the thing that's going to happen with the Flash movie. I think people are going to go see this Flash movie because Michael Keaton is in the Flash movie. There's a generation of people that want to see Michael Keaton as old Bruce Wayne in the bat suit and all that sort of thing. The trailer teased us seeing the classic, the Tim Burton classic Batmobile. I mean, in the
best
trailer,
one ever, just for the record.
I will not dispute that.
Okay, which one's better, Trevor?
Animated series.
Oh, come on. No. We're talking live action.
The animated series that
No,
you like that better?
I do like that better.
I'll agree with Trevor. Yes, the animated series is much better, but the animated
You like
series,
that one better too?
No. But the animated series you could not bring into real world because the aspects of the animated series switched from whatever they were doing. Sometimes it took over 2 lanes. Sometimes it was 12 feet long. Sometimes it could fit only one person. Sometimes it could fit like someone in the back seat. It just kept shifting and all that. When it comes to live action, yeah. When it comes to live action, no. The first Tim Burton Batmobile is the best one
I would say
we've ever seen.
Animated and Tim Burton made a Hot Wheels car of each of them.
Which
I want the Tim Burton.
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh yeah,
like,
no.
I would pick the Tim Burton.
Yeah.
It's got all the sleek curves and little wings and the little jet in the back. Man,
I would have no problem holding on to the animated series one for sure.
Oh yeah,
but,
that would be my number 2.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But yeah, and then third would be the Adam West because
someone made it. Batman, the animated series in real life.
And that looks
but
that looks like a plastic toy. They do look kind of cool though. I will admit that is that the same vehicle or is it
this one over here? Same, but yeah, someone has made multiple versions of this car with slightly different proportions.
Nope, I see that. Yeah.
And only reason why I know this is because I've actually seen it. They obviously had the ropes around it, so you couldn't touch, but yeah, they had it. They had the Burton Mobile, and they even had the Clooney's, and it was just like awesome, curvy awesome. And what the fuck is that?
That neon nightmare? That neon nightmare?
With the giant wing in the.
Oh my god! That wobbled. It wobbled.
Whoop, 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 whoop. Yeah. That's what kept it on the road.
It drives it forward. It allows it to drive forward with the tail pushing behind it.
Like an orca fin.
Yeah, exactly.
Now I'm going to quickly change gears here, just to say, House of the Dragon came out on HBO. I have to say this one thing: Matt Smith, when he's the hero, is
awesome. Oh
no, when he's the hero character, like in Doctor Who, he's great. when he's a villain character, he's fucking sinister. Holy Christ, is he sinister as a villain? Like, just, when he delivers that line, dreams didn't make us kings, dragons did. And the look that he gives, you're just like, he's going to kill me right now. And he's going to enjoy doing it. He needs more villain roles. He really does.
Looks so freaking weird with blonde hair.
He does. It does.
I am a Doctor Who fan, and I've been a Doctor Who fan from when I was a little kid and all that sort of thing. Eccleston and Tennant were fantastic and all that, and it took me a while to get into Matt Smith, and I really didn't sign on to Matt Smith until the pawns were gone, and his sidekick was Jenna Coleman, which was Death? Yes, exactly, your Death, Mike, or my Constantine. But Matt Smith, basically, there's something changed when he was dealing with a different character other than the pawns and all that sort of thing. I grew to enjoy Matt Smith, and everything since then that I've seen him in he's always been a shining thing. And going back and rewatching his stuff, he's a very playful character and all that. But
do you ever watch The Crown?
Yes, he was fantastic. I was just going to get to that.
Philip?
He was.
Oh my God, that performance blew me away. He had just the right amount of creepiness that you expect from that kind of royal, but also kept that sort of charming quality that made you like him.
For sure.
I thought that performance was amazing.
And that definitely leads into what he's doing now with friggin' I mean, the realm of dragons, the time of dragons, the big fly guys. What the hell's the season series called?
House of the Dragon.
House of the Dragons. House of the Dragons.
Yeah.
It's called the book that George R. R. Martin didn't.
No, he wrote this.
Right.
One.
Well, he sort of wrote it because he wasn't writing the one that we're waiting for 10 years.
Is that how that happened?
Yeah.
Something like that.
This is like 100 and some 27, 100 plus years before Daenerys. So
that's the one that is only a short amount of time before its original series. There you go. I got the two mixed up. Jeez, I got friggin' Lord of the Rings and
so House of the Dragon.
How dare you?
I've been enjoying it. I'm kind of looking forward. I am looking forward to the next episode tomorrow night. So, but it's also my wife's birthday on Monday, so we'll see. We'll see if I get to watch it as it airs, or catch it later on DVD.
That's right. HBO now owns Sunday nights again. That's right. Oh my God, that's why friggin' the WWE has changed their pay-per-views to Saturday nights now.
They did.
But anyways,
So,
so I haven't seen the episode yet. I keep hearing good things about it though, and the way that Game of Thrones ended as a steaming pile of turd. The fact that people are saying this episode is pretty good.
Honestly,
people are saying
I would rate this episode almost as strong as the very first episode of Game of Thrones.
Really?
Yeah. Like this episode, basically, they throw a lot of hooks at you to pull you in. I mean, Matt Smith.
They have to.
Matt Smith does it. I mean, if he doesn't pull you in, then it's some of the other elements. The cesarean section element. There's.
I heard about that.
There are some tough things to watch.
Yeah,
but there are also some amazing things, and they've really gotten better with marrying an actor onto a dragon back, so it doesn't look like they're sliding around on the dragon back as it's moving.
Well, again, you've also got like 5-6 years of just digital technology difference between the end of.
Better at it.
Definitely.
We've gotten better at putting the dragons into the scene in a way that shadows and reflections and all that stuff kind of work out really well. So,
not to say that the original Game of Thrones didn't do a fantastic job with what they had at the time. Like they broke ground with a lot of the stuff that they were doing.
Oh yeah, for a television series.
Yeah, except
for nailing the ending.
No,
for
sure.
They kind of choke on the ending there.
We're gonna bail on this because we got Star Wars going for us now. So whatever. Here's how this is gonna end. There you go, guys. Go seven episodes.
The
And
writer
then what
dies.
happened to that? Yeah, exactly.
The animator dies suddenly. Take it away.
Seriously, the Holy Grail had a better ending.
Totally.
Yeah, everyone getting arrested by the police.
Yeah.
And they could have done that. They could have been like, "Oh no, everyone, put your hands behind your back. Start loading them into paddy wagons." The
Yeah,
night
literally
goes
put
in,
George R. Martin up there, and again he gets arrested and pulled away.
Everyone gets arrested,
right.
And then it's just like the empty set with a piece of paper blowing through.
Oh my god, that would be the best ending.
Some guy walks in. I was late for the. Hello, anyone? Yeah, no, I'll go back to.
Okay, we have to do a Geeking Off the Page director's cut of Game of Thrones. That would be epic.
That would be kind of fun. That would be kind of fun. Yes.
All right. So, not yet. Because Troy has to tell us his number 3 movie.
Yes.
Wait, before we do that, we have to talk about Weird.
We have to talk about who?
Weird.
Okay.
There's
the Weird Al Yankovic story?
Yeah, we have to do that before.
Oh my
we get
gosh.
to top
Yes.
10.
Oh, definitely. Yes. Oh my
because
gosh. Yeah.
we can't pass that.
No. We can pull this out for a few more minutes. Yeah, let's totally talk
yes.
Weird.
Now, Weird. I don't know. Okay, you guys go first. What did you think?
No, Mike.
You brought it up.
Brought
You
it
get
up.
to go
You
first.
start.
Okay. I am more excited about this movie than any movie that's happened in like the last decade. And it's a weird thing because Daniel Radcliffe as Weird Al Yankovic. I was like, wait, what? He doesn't quite look right. He's not the tall and lanky, and it doesn't quite fit the character. But watching the trailer, it's like, oh, this is good. He's nailing the part. And I love that the movie seems to be like a biography of Weird Al.
/ parody.
It's a parody. Right. It's like showing him doing his whole like mental breakdown and hooking up with Madonna and getting into drugs and alcohol and going completely like off the rails. It's amazing. Like the Madonna actress in that, I forget her name, but she's
for sure. Yeah.
like she played the parts in that so well.
Evan Rachel Wood. I just remember Evan Rachel Wood is Madonna.
Oh, it's Evan Rachel Wood. Oh my God, it is Evan Rachel Wood. Oh wow,
it's so good.
Better.
And when she comes waltzing into his mansion, it's like, yeah, I just want to talk to you about doing a parody of my song "Like a Virgin." Is that autobiographical? Yes. Except I've had lots of sex. It's just like that moment. It's like, what the hell? It's so crazy.
I like Rainn Wilson as friggin' Dr. Demento, who looks fantastic.
So yeah,
he looks fantastic. I mean, of course, he's way taller than Dr. Demento ever was, but he has the look down beautifully.
Oh, it's so good. I love all the parody elements of it. It's like, we have to inform you that your son's been having a polka party. Like playing the accordion, and when he does the My Bologna song, it's like I've only wanted to just take change the words of songs that already exist. You should do that. And then My Bologna, my sons have been singing that all week.
Nice. That's fantastic.
So all the kids have been watching him playing the original song My Bologna. It's amazing. So
I will have to say, Daniel Radcliffe does an amazing job lip syncing to Weird Al songs.
I was gonna say the exact same thing. He is so good at that.
It's not just him just moving his mouth. You can see in his neck he's actually singing the song out, so it looks like he's singing it. And
the fact that they're using actual Weird Al's voice and all that, which is fantastic. And a parody of a guy that does parodies is just Al Yankovic. That's just too long. We just got to change your name to Weird. Make it longer.
When I was watching the trailer, his music producer, I was like, I've seen this guy before. I don't know who this actor is. I definitely recognize him. Wait a second, that's Weird Al.
Yeah.
But I didn't recognize it at first because the hairstyle was different.
Yeah.
It's like, I know this dude.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, he's in the movie. This is great.
Yeah. And it's basically a takeoff on Mike Myers' role in the Queen biography, where he plays the record executive that wants to turn down Queen singing Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah, yeah.
Basically that sort of
Nice little meta moment.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah,
I did
yeah.
read a thing where, so Weird Al asked Daniel Radcliffe if he could work out a bit, so that in the shirtless scenes he would have abs, like really defined abs. And he said, "Well, did you have defined abs when you were younger?" And he's like, "No, but it's a parody movie, so why wouldn't you have abs?" And he's like, "All right, I'll start doing the sit-ups." So that's why
Yeah.
there's a lot of like open shirt scenes to show off the abs.
Oh, he looks like a superhero. It's great.
Yeah, yeah. It's just it's ridiculous, but of course it is.
But they've so captured the cosplay aspect of Daniel Radcliffe being Weird Al
Oh,
from
yeah,
the
yeah.
different eras that it's just fantastic. Now, I don't know how far this is supposed to go into his repertoire, but I would love to see Daniel Radcliffe in the fat suit
Oh, that'd be
That'd
great.
be awesome.
from
So
Bad
this-
Hair Day. Oh my god! And my problem with this is it's on Roku only.
Yeah.
right? So
Well, it's actually you will have a chance to see it at the Toronto Film Festival September 8th. It's September 8th, the Toronto Film Festival.
this week I'm gonna go to the TIFF to see. You know what?
Let's go, Troy.
If
Let's
anything,
do it.
friggin' Daniel Radcliffe and Weird Al will be there.
They will.
There is no doubt that they will not be. What is the 8th? What is the 8th? the 8th is a what? It's who? It's a when?
A
It's
Wednesday, I think.
It's
The
a
5 days
Thursday.
away.
It's this
Let's do it.
Thursday.
Thursday.
Come on, let's do it.
Do it. Give it a shot.
Man.
See if you can get
man.
tickets. Get it. Even just get
I
down
might
there
bring my
and-
boys.
I mean, I'm not going to have a chance to see it just because there's no way I'm going to be able to get to Toronto on that day. But you guys
can
are
do
already
it.
there. You guys are already there. So, and then I have to wait until like the 4th of November to even get a chance to see it. So, I'm excited for this movie. I really am.
I might do it.
Worst case scenario,
Seriously.
we can check out the red carpet and see everyone coming in. sort
There
of
you
thing.
go.
That
There you
would
go.
be kind of neat. That would be kind of neat. I don't know.
Yeah,
let's,
I mean,
let's talk off camera here, Mike, and we'll figure something out.
All right, let's talk off camera.
Okay. So we want to talk about
they were off camera, so I guess that worked.
man.
Yeah. So, thanks for reminding us on that one because
Yeah, that was great.
but I still have. I still have to wait 2 months. Damn it.
Yeah. But again, it's not being theatrically released. So if you have Roku, which is another streaming service that you have to pay for.
The one I don't have. I mean, I have a TV
exactly,
that's Roku enabled in the basement, but it won't
But
qualify.
exactly.
TV's too old.
Unless they have one of those, get a free month sort of thing as a trial sort of thing and just cancel it off that. All you have to do is watch the movie once.
Cancel it the next day.
All you have to do is rip the movie once and you're good.
Yeah.
But
So
anyways, yeah, no, that
Hey,
I mean,
we
That's-
don't
that's-
ripping
wait,
of movies.
say no more.
yes. All right, then. Wink. Yes, yeah.
I guess so. So unless you've been hiding under a rock or not listening to the podcast, we've been
Who would
doing
do that?
a top 10
I would.
movie list that each of us have chosen the top 10 films by our personal choice. We have currently been going down the list for quite a while. We're going to take a pause and do Troy's top 3. His number 3 because, well, he didn't.
Because he was playing hard to get last week.
He was.
Yes.
And then we're going to go.
No time travel.
Yes.
Oh, timey
Number
wimey.
2. So, Troy, what's your number 3?
Oh, was I supposed to prepare something?
Yes.
Okay.
Or
So,
not. Wing it.
Yeah, exactly. We can always wing it. But so I'm gonna go with the whole entire explanation of like what everyone was able to do previously about talking about these top 10 lists and what they mean to us and all that. And again, I follow what everyone else has been saying. It is movies that are probably not the best movies out there, but the movies that mean the most of us because they impacted us at the right time. And it's the stuff that we carry with us throughout our whole entire lives, to this point at least. And the fact that we are well into our 5th decade of being on this planet and all that. Well, some of us not quite at the 5th decade, but close enough to the end of your 4th decade. So
We can see it from here.
yeah, exactly. It's
over
right over that corner. Yes. Oh yeah, actually, yes. Trevor's is right there, isn't it?
Right over there.
Yeah. When we talk about these lists, there's stuff that is in flux. There's constantly in flux. And Michael keeps saying how one of his favorite movies just doesn't make the top 10, or like Gavin as well. And I'll say the same thing. My bottom two movies are always, sometimes the 9 and 10 might turn into an 11, and the number 12 is the number 9, and all that sort of thing. But the reason I picked the movies that I did are the ones that are what I feel of at the day that we do the recording, what sits in that situation. So again, the three above, like 6, 7, and 8 sometimes switch places, and like 4 and 5 switch places, but there's always been these top 3. And when it came down to knowing that I had to pick a number 2 and a number 3 tonight, that was probably the most difficult thing I had to do of this whole entire list. And of course, it took forever to make these lists. And like Trevor said, he started off with a list of an uncountable amount of movies and just slowly.
Well, Trevor has a lot of lists. Just
yes, Trevor has. Yes,
I
Trevor
make
does
the
have a lot
occasional
of lists. Yes, exactly. But again, this number 2 and number 3 are probably, other than my number 1, are the strongest movies that mean a hell of a lot to me, and are the reason why I am the way I am, why I like the stuff that I like. So when it came down to this, it was like, what do I go to? Do I go to this movie? Do I go to this movie? Do I go to this genre? Do I go to that genre? And as it came down to it, when I was figuring out what I was going to do, I ended up on a movie that was released on April 21st, 1981, by John Landis. And it is also written and directed by John Landis, is the horror comedy classic, An American Werewolf in London. This is the movie that means so much to me in the fact that it was the movie that allowed me to discover on my own the modern genre of horror. And the fact that it was introduced to me in the way that it was, it's something that I discovered. Now, prior to this, I had seen a lot of the Universal monsters. I'd seen a lot of the Hammer horrors. I saw a lot of the like early black and whites up to the modern day, like 70s schlock horror films and all that. But this was the first modern film in the genre of horror that scared me. This movie terrified me. And it was within the opening portion of the movie that I could not get past. If you've seen the movie, you know there's a werewolf involved in this because it's right there in the title. 2 American boys, David.
Spoilers.
Yes, spoiler. David Kessler and Jack Goodman are hitchhiking across Europe. They are going across the UK at this point of their journey, and they encounter a werewolf where Jack is horribly massacred by this animal that you don't actually even see on screen. And it's Griffin Dunn's screaming in horrible terror and pain is what really got me. And that was it. I could not watch past that point. Now, mind you, I had seen this movie when I was probably 12 years old. And it was something that I could not fathom. I was at a birthday party and someone had rented horror movies, because that's what you do. VHS, you go down to mom and pop place, rent, I think it might have been a Jumbo Video where they rented a bunch of movies. And one of them was American Werewolf in London, and everyone sat around and see it. And I saw that sequence and I'm like, I'm checking out. I'm going to go play Atari over on the TV screen in the basement sort of thing and all that, because there were some other kids playing Atari there. So whatever. Maybe it was ColecoVision. It might have been ColecoVision at the time. But anyways, it was definitely not watching the rest of that. A few months later, I had a second chance to watch it, and I figured, okay, let's give this another try. And it was my own birthday party that I had rented it with. There was this and a couple other movies. Again, I could not get past that whole entire massacre sequence. Now, fast forward to Halloween of that actual year, and this was when the Thriller video was being released on, well, it would have been Much Music for us in Canada, but it was on MTV. It was simulcast at the same time and all that. It was on Halloween, and I was a huge Michael Jackson fan, as many people were of my age at that time. And the spectacle of this video was amazing. I mean, it had a classic Universal Monsters feel to it. This whole entire, especially the opening sequence where Michael Jackson transforms into this werewolf. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so cool. It looks really neat. And then the Michael Jackson video and all that. And then, oh, what's this? Zombies and whatever. Because I knew what Night of the Living Dead was at this time because I had seen the George A. Romero black and white movie that didn't scare me because, hey, it was black and white and all that. Mind you, I would not see the sequels till much later after this point and all that. But well, actually not much later after, but soon after this point in my life of watching horror films. But then right after it, they had the Making of Thriller special. And in it, there's a sequence where this gentleman is talking on camera and then he starts to peel his flesh back. He's done up as a zombie. He starts peeling his flesh back off of his nose and up over his face and starts pulling it over. And on the bottom of the screen says Rick Baker. And I'm like, oh, this is makeup artist and all that. Then it cuts to a sequence where it's director John Landis, who I knew because I had seen Animal House. I had seen like his other like early movies and all that. Blues Brothers. I had seen Blues Brothers and all that. So I knew who John Landis was. Exactly. Yeah. So, and then, but he's sitting there with Michael Jackson and John Landis is saying, hey, like, it was just weird how Michael Jackson approached me and asked me to make this video. And then I said, well, have you seen any of my other stuff? Have you seen the Blues Brothers? And Michael Jackson's quietly over the side goes, no. And then he says, have you seen Animal House? And he goes, no. And then, well, what have you seen? And then Michael like shyly says, American Wolf in London. And it was like, oh, wait, Michael Jackson saw American Wolf in London and really liked it. And these people are involved with it and all that. And then you get the whole entire backstory of how American Werewolf in London basically inspired this Michael Jackson's Thriller and the people to come together. And I figured, okay, you know what? The hell with it. That's the next time it's playing, I'm going to watch it and all that. Luckily enough, it was Halloween night. This other person had rented an American Wolf in London. And I thought, okay, I know what's going to happen. I know it's going to happen. I know. So went down. Of course, we're watching it in a basement. Lights are off. There's like 7 or 8 kids gathered around this TV. And of course, big square tube and all that. And, you know, they got the VHS machine on the top, blinking whatever time it was and all that. And I'm like, okay, I know the scene. Here it is, here it is, here it is, here it is. And I grit my teeth through it. And it occurs to me that it wasn't as bad as I thought it was on my third viewing of this whole entire thing. But I got past it. And then I saw the dead body lying there of the guy that was the wolf. And then I saw that after David was attacked and passing out and waking up and then the next jump scare with the friggin' the wolf Nazi jumping out and killing the nurse and all that and doing and so I just fell in love because I was able to see the movie for what it was, and it was a tribute. It was a tribute to those Universal Pictures of way back then. Now, mind you, the nudity and the language and the gore definitely did not hurt the matter and all that. But again, deep down inside, it was a tribute to your classic werewolf story. And
Troy.
I had always been, my favorite Universal monster was always the Wolfman. The Lon Chaney Jr. story, it always meant more to me when I was first introduced to them because it was the first one that was actually like a human that just got this and trying to deal with it and all that. Dracula, while I love Dracula, Bela Lugosi was fantastic. Dracula was several hundred years old. Frankenstein's monster, again, fantastic thing, but he was just a guy thrown together and all that. So it didn't really have a human feel to it. The story is very human to begin with once you're older and realize that sort of thing. But from the get-go, the Wolfman was the one that I got drawn into. So when I finally got through watching this spectacle of a movie, I was just so thrilled at the fact that this was a scary movie. This was a funny movie. This was a movie that gave you the way you're supposed to watch a classic modern horror. You get your creepy, you get your scare, you get your laugh, you get your scare on top of it again because it takes you off guard. It throws everything at you and you just take it all. It has fantastic acting. It has an amazing, like, it's great because it's also an American movie that takes place in some place that isn't America. So you have this feel of, I've never seen this place before. I mean, again, growing up in the household that I did, we watched a lot of stuff on PBS. So we've seen a lot of BBC stuff and all that. So the look of England is kind of familiar to me, but I'd never seen it with this feel to it. So, and it was just the movie was just a spectacular thing to see at that age. I mean, again, and even though the music itself was something that drew me in because it had a lot of like Motown and stuff like that, and a lot of like modern day music, which was kind of neat because I just wasn't used to that. It was a lot of stuff you heard on the radio, sort of thing, like CCRs. Bad Moon Rising. Duh. Bad Moon Rising was in it. Van Morrison's Moondance. They had like 3 versions of Blue Moon, like Bobby Vinton's and then Sam Cooke's and then the Marcel's, the doo-wop at the end sort of thing. It's just fantastic. Now, another reason why this movie means so much to me, the way that this movie means so much to me is the way that I got basically into doing podcasts is what I'm doing now. Because when I decided to take a venture into doing podcasting, I found basically a universe of podcasts that are called Movie by Minutes. And what it is they basically have the hosts basically break down the movie minute by minute. In each episode, they talk about a particular, like, in chronological order, movie minute by minute of the movie. They figure out little facts in whatever's happening in the scene. They bring in guests to talk about things and their impact on it. And at the time, I had seen that there wasn't a Movies by Minute podcast about An American Werewolf in London. So I decided to make my own called Welcome to the Slaughtered Lamb, which is a sequence from the actual movie itself. And me, along with a lot of times I was just solo by myself because I didn't know what I was doing, but it was fun nonetheless. I had Adrian join me. I had another friend of mine, Ahmed, that I knew through Blockbuster, who's a big horror fan, helped me out with a couple of episodes and all that. And I did all 97 minutes of the episode. And basically, shortly after that is when I approached these guys to think, hey, this was kind of fun for me. I want to know if these guys were interested in that. And before you knew it, we were doing this podcast of Geeking Off the Page. So that's basically what I have to hold off to give to An American Werewolf in London. So it was very influential in the way that I was able to view horror, because from that point on, I started to learn more about the making of it, which is something that I've always been into, is the behind the scenes stuff. And when I discovered who Rick Baker was and realized, oh, Rick Baker was involved with Star Wars as well. I mean, there was just a snowball of things, the way stuff was done behind the scenes, how the effects were done, and how one person talking about this other person was influenced by another person, and so forth and so on. I found out about Tom Savini through listening to Rick Baker talk about him. And so then, oh, let's see what Tom Savini is. And that's where I discovered the modern, well, like Dawn of the Dead is probably the next horror film I saw. And then I discovered Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th and Halloween. And then it just snowballed from there. And then I couldn't get enough horror, but it all basically comes down to, this is the very first modern day horror film that I was actually able to watch. And from the time I was able to watch it, I just fell in love with every single moment of it. It's quotable, it's laughable, it's scary, it's so fun. I enjoy the hell out of this movie, and I will watch it at least once a year. That's the reason why I did the podcast. I was able to find out so much more about the making of the movie through the podcast, which made me love it even more. And that's the reason why it's number 3 on my top 10 list.
Are you aware there is an upcoming remake of this film?
I am totally aware of that. Mind you, there has always been a remake on the horizon for the past decade and a bit. John Landis has never signed off on it, but I believe recently has given his because American Werewolf in Paris was totally out of his hand. It was just a studio sort of attempt to make a sequel, which if you've ever seen that movie, you'll understand why he distances himself from that project. But yes, recently John Landis has basically given his, okay, sure, let's see what you got sort of thing.
Giving it to his son to direct.
Of course he is. That's probably the only reason why he actually decided to sign off on it. But again, that's been in development for quite a while, which I'm hoping, I mean, if it's going to be a remake, it'd be nice to see a modern day remake of American Werewolf in London, because there's a lot of stuff that technologically speaking would change a lot of the actual story itself.
But the film is right now is currently slated to have the same runtime. It's the same script, slightly updated.
Yeah.
But it's going to basically, you'd be able to run it alongside the original. So
yeah, exactly. And again, I want to say, what is John Landis's son's name? I am blanking on it right now. It is Max.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So,
but right. Because it's Max Landis and Max Brooks. So,
yes.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, I mean, and when I talk about my number 2, you'll understand the reason why the number 2 is in my number 2 and why sometimes my 2 and 3 will flip back and forth and all that.
All right. Sounds good. Now we're going to give Troy a little bit of break because he just talked a lot there. So Troy, what's your number 2? He did talk a lot. Troy, what's your number 2?
So if you're talking about movies that, no, I'm not going to do that right now. Someone else go, because
no, we wanted you again. There we go.
Okay, for me again. All right. So basically what we're going to go with is I'm going to go along the same whole entire thing. Growing up, movies were a big thing in my family and all that. And watching movies was always the fun thing. And my parents really got into seeing a lot of movies on TV. Like the previous movie, like An American Werewolf in London. I've never seen American Werewolf in London in the theater. I've only ever seen it on TV. And my number 2, I've only ever seen on TV as well. The reason being is it just happened to work out that way. I've never been able to see a revival of it. I've never been able to see like a reprint or anything like that. I mean, not that I haven't been looking for it, but it's just has never come up. So the movie that is, again, like I said, if you've listened to what I just talked about, An American Werewolf in London, you'll know that the 1974 Mel Brooks and Gene Wilder written Young Frankenstein is my number 2 pick. So my parents, both my parents were wonderful in allowing me to experience movies that they knew in their youth or recently was released. My father would travel quite a bit when I was young and all that, and he would basically do a lot of going to see a lot of movies when he was wherever he was. So when he had seen this particular movie back in the day, because it was in 74, I was 3, so there's no way I was going to see that movie. But later on, when it happened to be on at the movies with Ellie Ost, the TVO movie guy, I guess it was Saturday night at the movies is what would happen, and they would show classic movies and all that, and he would do a breakdown of the movies. He would talk to people about the movies, talk to writers, directors, actors, give you behind the scenes stuff and all that. And that's, again, stuff that I grew up loving and all that. And this one time was Young Frankenstein, and my parents were all like, yeah, we like Mel Brooks. I had seen before this, I had seen Blazing Saddles, which oddly enough, was released in the same calendar year as Young Frankenstein. So that was quite the feat and all that. But it just basically is a comedic retelling of the classic Frankenstein story. And this movie, it makes it the best comedy that I can ever think of. Like, going back on my list, my number 10 is Airplane. Slapstick comedy, straight out from minute one to the very end, just nothing but hilarity and all that. The fact that Young Frankenstein, this comedy, which gives so much homage to its original predecessor of the 33 Frankenstein movie and their series of movies, the fact that it's a comedy that takes itself as an actual horror film makes the comedy work so much more. And having the cast that this movie has, this is a once in a lifetime cast. Now, again, Mel Brooks uses a lot of these actors quite a bit in his echelon of movies, which no doubt is the perfect reason. Like between Madeline Kahn and Marty Feldman and Terry Garr, and with friggin' Gene Wilder as the lead, there is, I mean, can't forget Cloris Leachman, but it's just such a fantastic watch. I mean, if you've seen the movie and you do not enjoy the movie at all, I just don't think that you and I can be friends. It's that sort of thing. But it's also, again, a movie I saw as a young boy, probably when I shouldn't have been watching this movie. But again, it's just something that my parents loved. And again, there are jokes that go over my head, no problem, when I first watch it. But it was with that whole entire, my parents are laughing at this, so it must be funny. Both my parents are laughing at this. Like if my dad's laughing at it, it's like, oh, it's a guy kind of joke, or something that my mom's like, oh, it's a smart joke or something like that. Not that, but I'm just saying like that. But both my parents are laughing throughout this whole entire ordeal. And I just fell in love with it. And again, it's the reason why I love comedy. It's the reason why I love the genre of horror as well. It's a combination of the two, but it's the horror that I knew growing up before I discovered An American Wolf in London. This is the classic horror. This is, again, they use set pieces from the original film. They shot it in the same style as the original. The fact that it was a movie in 1974 that was in black and white at a time that nobody did this. Finding out so much about the movie afterwards, later on, it's just fantastic that the movie even got made. How both Gene Wilder and Mel Brooks, how much they filmed a 2.5-hour movie that they then cut down to the hour and 40 some odd minutes that this movie is. So, I mean, it's just fantastic. The fact that you can close your eyes, fast forward and pause, no matter what, you are stopping on a quotable scene. There is no doubt that you are going to hit a comedic moment every 30 seconds. It's not only is it's visually comedic, it's so well written. It's for me, it is the upper echelon of what a comedy is. And it's a comedy that isn't a pie in your face sort of movie. Well, the movie does get to that point at some point, obviously, but it's just so much, it just made such an impact on me as such a kid. And the fact that it is something that my parents and my brother and we all watched and enjoyed. And I mean, to this day, we still quote it to each other. Like, I will not see or talk to my brother in years, and maybe not years, but months and all that sort of thing. And like, he'll say, walk this way. And I'll and he'll hand me like an invisible cane, and I'll try and use this invisible cane to make me hunch over and all that sort of thing. Or give him a Sega give is a line that we just yell at each other. Give him a Sega give. It just cannot help but being entertained, even when you're not watching this movie. It's just, and that's what makes a good movie. Like, just straight out, that's what makes a good movie. When you can walk away from that movie and still be quoting it, still want to talk about it, still listen to other people talk about it. And I've done that. The podcasts that I've listened to so many podcasts break it down. I've listened to the movies by minute version of this movie and all that, and finding out all the behind the scenes stuff. I've watched this movie several times with the Mel Brooks like audio track, which is not only entertaining to listen to, because sometimes he gets off on a tangent and has no idea what's going on the screen. He just goes on for a 5-minute rant about something that was 10 minutes ago, sort of thing, but it's just so entertaining. But again, it is something that has stuck with me, that has shaped, this is what I compare other comedies to. This and Airplane. Like, you either go into Young Frankenstein or you go into Airplane. If you're of those calibers, I'm going to enjoy this movie. There are some crossovers, yes, but again, it's the cast, it's the look, it's the directing, it's the writing, it's the whole ball of wax that makes it my number 2 movie on my top 10.
That rant makes me wonder why Spaceballs is not on my top 10.
Makes me wonder why it's not in your top 10 either.
I see. Spaceballs is sort of up there. It's in my mid-teens, probably lower teens and all that, just because there's so much like if you're to look at once we finish this off and we we've always revealed what's 11 and down and all that sort of thing. I've got so much in 11 and down that you guys are like, why is this not on your top 10? There's reasons why it's not on my top 10, because I didn't want to backload it with every single, because at a time I would say, hey, this one particular director owns 7 of my top 10 slots. I mean, it's not, but as an example, you don't want to have a whole entire list of Spielberg movies, because you could totally put
Trevor has no problem with that.
No, I know Trevor.
I have a couple.
No, I know you do, but I'm just saying, for
You
me,
know what? That's an actual concept we could do. If we did the top 10, we'll do 11 and down.
Yeah, but not so much. We're not going to go into great detail and all that sort of thing. We could just go, hey, this is when I saw it, this is how it meant and all that. Okay, next sort of thing. Because again, these are a great exercise as well to basically work on your stuff. Yeah, to exercise your own makeup, to figure out why you are the way you are, sort of thing.
You're
and
kind
to
of
reflect.
deconstructing, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
These are all the elements that have formed the Tetris blocks in your mind over the years.
I like
and
that.
It's
I like that.
What are the top 10 ones? That was there.
Yeah,
the unfortunate thing is I got a lot of Jenga going on, so every once in a while everything topples over. But
this was not an easy exercise to do for me, because again, I started with an enormous list of then having to pare them down and move them around, and it was tough.
Alrighty then, Michael, what gives you your number 2 feels on this top 10?
So my number 2, I think this is the oldest movie on my list, and it came out when I was about 2 years old. So needless to say, I didn't see it in theaters. Well, not on initial release, but about 3 years later, when Empire Strikes Back came out, they were doing this double header. And I think it's the first movie experience that I've ever had, and that's Star Wars. I remember sitting in the theater with this giant spaceship just shooting across the screen, a whole bunch of people getting shot up, robots running around, and then there was this moment where everybody was dead, stormtroopers are standing there, and this dark figure comes walking through the smoke, and it's Darth Vader. And as a 5-year-old kid sitting in the movie theater, it's like, what the hell is this? I am terrified out of my mind. whatever happens after this is going to be amazing. I just know it. And yeah, Star Wars, it changed my life. Everything from there on just kind of shifted. So you have this technology, it's sci-fi, but there's weird mystical powers. Like use the force. Like, what the hell is the force? It's life that, the energy that combines everything together. Like, my little 5-year-old brain doesn't understand it, but it's awesome. And I remember that Christmas where I got the Millennium Falcon. We moved into a new house. I was living in Oakville at the time. We moved into a new house. I was 5 years old, so it would have been that year. And running downstairs on Christmas and seeing a Millennium Falcon and a Death Star, which my brother got. It's like, this is the best Christmas ever. So yeah, Star Wars, it just changed everything in my brain. I looked back at all the making of, because as a little kid I was always curious, and we've talked about this before. That's why we always got, or why we got into animation and behind the scenes and cosplay or whatever. Like, we like getting into getting the hands dirty, understanding why things are done the way they're done. And Star Wars was one where it's like, how do you make this? Like, this is unlike anything I've ever seen before. And then as time goes on, you start seeing, it's like, oh, well, we're just like kit bashing. We're like taking like weird random models, putting them together. We're creating this whole special effects industry. We're, doing all these, monsters and prosthetics and all this kind of stuff. Like, everything was so over the top that it's like, I have to do this. Like, there's no way I'm going through life without getting my hands dirty in the same arena. And then it's interesting with Star Wars too, the whole thing with like the Joseph Campbell, the hero of 1,000 faces, that heroic archetype. That's something that I didn't understand until way later, like probably college days is when I started getting into that. Hearing how Lucas, pulled him in to create that heroic archetype in the story. And I started studying all that, like how all these different myths have the same, I guess, archetypes, like these same meanings. This, like how somebody can go on a heroic journey, and all of that kind of lines up. It's like you take all these different myths, and it's the same hero's journey. So that was a huge impact. And then even the characters, I've talked about before how my top 10 always has interesting characters. Like, how do you get better characters than Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, Princess Leia, Chewbacca, R2D2, C3PO, Darth Vader, Tarkin? Like, it's all there. And going back even farther, seeing the sources that Lucas basically harvested all these ideas from. And it was interesting how he wanted to do a Flash Gordon, but he couldn't get the rights. So it's like, fine, I'm going to do my own thing. Yeah, okay, multi-billion-dollar franchise, cool, ching. That's neat. And it's like, no matter how deep I dive into the making of this stuff, it just becomes more powerful. The fact that, like, I don't know if you guys have ever watched that deleted magic cut where he basically went, like, this guy, I forget his name, Garrett something, he put together an entire cut of the movie based on outtakes and all sorts of other silly nonsense based on the original script of Star Wars. And so the fact that it's outtakes makes it ridiculous in itself, but you can see how the story of it doesn't hold up. It's like the pacing's wrong, the timing's wrong, the whole thing seems just completely silly. But the fact that Star Wars was saved in the edit, and with the John Williams score and everything else, and it came together. Like, it was basically an impossible movie. Lucas had like a breakdown making it. All the actors said, like this doesn't make any sense. You can't say this. You can't like, Alec Guinness was in it for the money. Hey, like the whole thing is completely ridiculous. But the fact that he pulled all these people together and the actors were able to speak up and say their bit, the fact that his wife at the time, who edited it together to make something coherent, John Williams' score, all the actors saying, George, you can write this on paper, but you can't say it, and they would change the lines, and it turned into something like it's basically movie magic. It's the ultimate blockbuster, and for me, that's the movie that when I first saw it, it changed me, and it's the only movie that I have at that young of an age that sticks in my head. Like, I remember sitting in the theater watching this thing. So yeah, I mean, we've talked about Star Wars. All of us came together through Star Wars. We've talked, we've watched it, all the the widescreen things back into the Sheridan days on the VHS. So it could go on and on and on and talk about it, but yeah, that's one easily number two. There's only one movie that I would say is better than that. We'll talk about that next time.
All right. So you were saying that you saw this basically in the re-release of Star Wars the year before Empire Strikes Back, then, right?
It had to be the same year
Yeah.
because there's no way I
no,
remembered it
yeah.
as a 2-year-old.
No. I'm saying like there was a release in 1979, which was the summer before Empire Strikes Back. But when Return of the Jedi came out, there was a double bill in the 2 months prior to that.
Okay, so I know it was definitely with Empire.
Okay.
Because we talked for a long time. Okay, I remember this clearly. Sitting in the car, with my brother Blair, talking with my father, saying, there's no way that Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's father. And this is all in the same kind of time era. So like that moment of seeing Star Wars and Empire was within that same bubble. So whatever those release dates were, I don't know.
Right.
All I remember is my first movie experience is seeing this badass Darth Vader walking through a bunch of smoke and going, what the hell is this?
All right.
So yeah, Star Wars, my number 2 movie pick.
It's definitely, it binds the universe together.
It's like duct tape.
Yeah.
So Trevor,
yes,
what's your number 2?
Well, so anyone who's been following along and looking at my list is probably pretty surprised by the fact that I have 0 animation on my list. Like none.
How dare you?
I know. Until we get to number 2.
Oh,
number 2 is going to be a shock for some people, not for others. Now it is an animated film, but I'm going to say it right up front. It's not The Lion King. It's, it's not Tangled. It's not
Fritz the Cat.
Aladdin. It's not even a Disney film. No, it's this film came out in 1999, was criminally underrated and not even advertised all that well. This is Brad Bird's The Iron Giant. Now Gavin has this film as his number 5, so he's talked a fair bit at length about it. So you know the storyline of it. But again, this is a movie that had a big impact on me. So, through Sheridan days, we watched plenty of animated stuff. And so far, leading up to this film and after this film, this is the only animated film that within 5 minutes of watching, I forget I'm watching animation. I connect with the characters so much, I don't view them as thousands of drawings. I don't view the giant as a CG creation. It quickly gets so sucked into the story that I don't see it as animation. It's just such a riveting story. So when I watch it, and it doesn't matter where in the film it is, if it's on TV, flick it to it and right into the story. And I own several copies of this movie. I own it on VHS. I own it on DVD. I own it on DVD. I even own it on Blu-ray. It's probably one of the only films I own in just about every medium possible. And it's, to me, it's the story. Again, story is king. It's what drives this movie. It's such it's such a great tale. You know, it's the young hero's journey, as well as the giant's journey, and you get lost in it. And right up to the point when, you know, he tells Hogarth to stay, he's got to go, and he goes up and does the self-sacrifice, not knowing if he's going to survive. You know, you get a little choked up when that happens, because it's like, this is this kid's best friend, and then at the end when you find out the giant survived, but he's like in thousands of pieces and slowly putting himself back together, it's like, oh, this movie, you could even have a sequel. But Brad Bird's already stated that he will never ever do a sequel to the Iron Giant. He told the story he wanted to tell, and in my opinion, he told it beautifully. I've seen the extra cuts where, you know, there's a different sequence with the robot where they change the design when he goes into full attack mode. Yeah, I mean, and a lot of alumni from Sheridan worked on this film, but again, it was so horribly marketed that it made such a terrible return in the box office that, yeah, a lot of people ignore it or pass it by because they either never heard of it, or they never gave it a chance to see it. Like, oh, I've heard of Iron Giant, but I've never watched it. So usually I try to take those people and educate them and get them to watch it.
Through violence?
And when they're done, I cut the ropes and, you know, let them stretch their arms out and take a drink, go pee, that sort of thing.
You know, definitely just by restraint. You're not going to be violent. No.
I'm not going to be violent.
I've watched 5 minutes with
they're
Trevor.
enjoying it
I
anyway.
know how it goes.
Yeah, within about 5 minutes, I could cut the ropes anyway, and they're not going to go anywhere because they know. They better not. Anyways, so yeah, when I was putting together my list, I have actually quite a few animated films on my list, but they are actually, none of them break the top 20. Even though, like, you know, one of my favorite animated characters is Stitch. I love the movie The Incredibles, also by Brad Bird. And there's plenty of other animated films I really like, but this is the only one that not only broke into the top 20, it got into the top 10, into the top 5, and into the number 2 spot. This is honestly, with the exception of the film that's in my number 1, this is a film, if it's on, will trump anything else on TV. I will, like, ooh, it's there, automatically go to it. I don't care what the kids are saying. I don't care what the wife is saying. That movie's on until it ends.
Sorry, Mary.
Yeah, sorry, Mary. It's just the way it happens. It was just a perfect storm of talent, storytelling. You know, you had a great cast, a great voice cast. Yeah. So this is why this movie's on my number 2, The Iron Giant. If you haven't seen it, go see it. If you don't want to see it, we can't be friends.
Did anybody see it in theaters? Because I didn't.
I did see it in theaters. I was living in Montreal at the time, and the first time I saw it in French, which was a little tough.
How did Vin Diesel sound in French?
Not good.
I am Groot.
And so I started watching it, but even in French, I could follow enough of the story. So I came out of the theater, and then the very next showing was in English. So I just turned right back around, went right back in, watched it in English. I was like, this is awesome. Why did they massacre it in French? It's Quebec. It happens. And it wasn't even like good French. It was Quebecois French. So it's even worse.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Sorry, Quebec listeners.
I'm not. You took a good movie, just ruined it. So
Mike, we only talk in English, so they're not listening to us anyways.
Exactly.
Tagel.
So the second this movie came out on VHS, I bought it. I actually bought this movie on DVD before I had a DVD player. It was one of the reasons why I had to buy a DVD player.
You just looked at it.
I was like, just hold it the light just the right way. So this is my number 2. And if anyone wants to fight me over it, knuckle up. Come on over.
I was so pissed off that I didn't see this in theaters.
Oh, same here.
Again, because like the marketing was so bad on this thing.
Yeah.
Again, I was a huge Brad Bird fan. Like, you know, Simpsons, Family Dog, all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
No, I would have jumped at this, but it just didn't hit my radar until after the fact. And then when I saw it, it's like, holy crap! Like easily, this is in my top 20.
Yeah.
And like so much stuff in this movie is done so well. It has that sort of classic Warner Brothers feel. The fact that they were able to blend CG animation into it and make it mesh with the 2D animation.
And at that time as well, I mean, 99 is a unheard of to so easily mesh those two together in a hand-drawn animation.
And I think one of the most telling points is when the Iron Giant puts his hand down and Hogarth steps into his hand. I mean, so when like Anastasia came out, there's a sequence where the grandmother grabs onto the egg. Now,
No,
the
exactly
egg
what
is
you're
CG,
talking
and the
about.
hand is just like doing this continuously. And the egg is rock solid. The hand's like no, 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 just boiling all over the place.
Yeah.
So when I saw Iron Giant and he puts his hand down, Hogarth steps into his hand and he picks Hogarth up, and there's no boiling. He's not like sliding around on the hand. They track, and the hand even turns, and Hogarth turns with the hand. It's
Yeah.
such a beautifully tracked scene, and I've watched the behind the scenes. Hogarth was completely hand drawn. They didn't use any sort of 3D model reference on the giant's hand. There's a couple of frames where you see the animator drew a grid on the reference and then put Hogarth on there, and as they turned Hogarth in perspective to match that hand.
Yeah.
It was a tremendous amount of work.
Yeah.
And they married it. And also it's like the era of big science in the 50s where, all the countries were competing. It was all big.
Yeah.
And so the giant felt like he came right out of that era of big science.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole nuclear era and the Cold War kind of vibes.
I mean,
and that cannonball sequence, the cannonball.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite moments in movies, is where he just runs and jumps in.
When that truck pulls up and says, "Hey, yeah, yeah," I love that sequence. That is such a beautifully timed sequence. So yeah.
I also love the fact that those that have, from what I've experienced, is those that have not experienced anything about the Iron Giant before, when they do finally end up seeing, they end up loving it. It may not be on their top 10, but they understand that this is a spectacular time. And then when you point out the fact that when this movie was made, they're just blown away. And again, it is just a spectacular feat to be seen. And again, I wish I had seen it in a theater. I don't even think I saw it until well into it being available to be seen generally. I think I might have randomly seen it on one of the movie channels that would happen to be showing it. And because I know I did not see it. I saw it as a full movie. I didn't see like with commercials or stuff like that. But again, I didn't see it till well after it had been come out. And I like kick myself for not having actively gone after it sooner.
I mean, it was a real crime because like when I saw it in Montreal, I just happened to be, I left work and I walked a different route, and I just happened to say, "Ooh, Iron Giant," and I saw the poster and I was like, "I'll go see this." And again, saw it in French first, then I saw it in English. It was in theaters in Montreal for maybe 5 days, and then it was gone.
Ouch.
It was there like Monday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, because a bunch of guys at the studio were like, "Well, let's go see it," and we get there on the Friday night, it's gone, and they're like, "Oh yeah, the last showing was Tuesday night." And we're like, who shows a movie for 5 days?
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, it is a sad thing that something like that just basically fell by the wayside, because I'm sure it definitely would have. I mean, again, who was it that released this? Was it?
I think this was Warner Brothers.
It's Warner Brothers.
So it's so it's a Warner Brothers. Not really sure what they're doing animation style at this time. I guess they wouldn't really be big into the animation right now. And again,
now you step forward 23 years, and now it's Warner Brothers live action. We don't know what we're doing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Timey-wimey.
Yeah.
One thing that was fun is I worked on a silly Christmas animated thing called Happy Elf, and Harry Connick Jr. was one of the voices in that. But the whole time working on that was just like, oh, he was an Iron Giant. Working with the guy that was an Iron Giant. That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's Jennifer Aniston too, isn't it?
It is.
As
Jennifer
as
Aniston, Harry
mom?
Connick
Yeah,
Jr.
yeah,
I never worked with her.
yeah. Well, I'm just saying at the time too, like they're not known for being voice actors. I mean, after
yeah.
this, Harry
Yeah,
Connick Jr. does a little bit of stuff and all that, but Jennifer Aniston never at the time. And who knew who Vin Diesel was at the time either? I mean,
Yeah,
he's
it
just a
was.
voice. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how he got his Marvel role, I think.
It could have been. Yeah, as I said, that's why when I
Superman.
was coming up with this list,
Vin?
once the Iron Giant hit in the list, it just started climbing and climbing and climbing until it got to number 2, and nothing budged it. So,
you know what? I feel ashamed that I don't even think it's, well, I'd have to examine, but I don't even think it's in my top 20. But it's just something I've never considered. It's a spectacular movie, but it's just something I don't. Again, you know what? I'll admit, if it's on TV, I will turn it on and just sit there and watch it and all that sort of thing. But I don't even know if it's on my top 20 because it's just something I don't think about.
if it's on and it's early enough, I grab the kids and stick in front of the TV.
Oh, I would not. I would
They're
totally.
tied up.
Yeah.
Sit and learn, children.
Yeah, I would totally know. I would totally show Aslan this movie now because I mean, it's the little kid's adventure. It's you journey along with this kid and you experience everything through this well-written kid's life in the 50s,
right around the time of Sputnik.
In the 50s. Yeah. It's Sputnik, right? That's right, Sputnik. Yes, yeah. So
Sputnik is October of 57.
Yeah. And again, it's another thing that and it's what makes this movie a great movie because it's set in a period, but you can show it to anyone and you know when it's supposed to take place. You get the feel of the era from this animated feature. And again, can't say this enough. Hand-drawn animation is like so beautifully done.
And honestly, it's the Iron Giant is one of those things that if I could have one, but park them right up in the backyard, that'd be great.
Yeah. Well, it also explains why it's the Iron Giant itself is such an icon too of the geekdom as well. Why it shows up in Ready Player One, why it's in the new Warner Brothers battle game, whatever it's called, or
If Gavin was here, he'd know the name.
Yeah, exactly. He'd know the name of it, right, Gavin?
Warner Brothers didn't know that at the time.
Exactly. Yes, and they're reaping the benefits of their stupidity, which they probably would have, like Batgirl. Freaking well released. Oh, Jesus Christ! I don't want to get back on that again.
That's a different podcast for it.
That just makes me so angry when they don't realize what they have in front of them. But again, it was a time in the late 90s. No one knew what would work. No one really knew at that time. It was friggin' Lucas was coming out with new Star Wars stuff and nobody knew what the hell was going to make it.
Well, big. I mean, at the time, Warner Brothers was struggling. They had done Quest for Camelot, which was god awful.
Was that's
the one with the two-headed dragons?
Yeah. It was,
so they were just like, they were fumbling around in the dark because Disney was just, printing money every time they put out an animated feature.
Yeah.
The Warner Brothers and even Fox was like, well, we can do that too. And no. But yeah, Iron Giant, I mean, I just wish they had, had a little bit of confidence in it and promoted it.
Yeah.
And they would have easily made back their investment. But
yeah. I mean, they definitely did. It just took friggin' quite a few more years than yeah.
So
So just from what you've just listened to, just me and Mike talking on about Iron Giant is how spectacular of a movie this is. Because, I mean, sure, we could have gone on about what Mike said about Star Wars, but Star Wars
has been done to death. Let's talk more about Star Wars.
Let's talk more about Star Wars.
Let's keep going about Star Wars.
Gavin's top 3 was Star Wars: A New Hope.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because Gavin was number 3 and all that. So, I mean, I think we should put a wrap on this right now because we can wax poetically about just animation and whatnot alone, which is something we could actually do as a separate thing altogether. Just going on about talking decades of animation.
Yes. It'll feel like film structures all over again.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, but the thing is, we have the knowledge, we have the know-how, have the experiences of it.
We got the
I mean,
technology, like $1 Million Man.
yeah, like
Yeah.
the $6 million man, exactly, yeah. Which definitely would not get you reconstruction surgery that much. $6 million.
You might get a fancy pair of pants and a good pair of running shoes.
Damn inflation.
Exactly.
You're like, we rebuilt him with $6 million.
Yeah.
So what do you get? Like a pair of those like running blades?
I was just about to say the little flexing blades. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
That's
you
what
got a set of
got.
running
Yeah,
blades. That's
Yeah.
as much money we put into him. It was like,
yeah.
no, we gave him an eye and an arm, and no, we can't afford
No,
that.
no. A bionic ear. What the hell's a bionic ear?
You gotta make
Oh
her
no,
ear.
that was the bionic woman that had the ear, wasn't it?
Yeah, she had the ear.
He had the eye. She had the ear. Right. Alrighty then. So what do we got coming up in the nearby future and all that? We got on the 8th. There's a bunch of stuff coming out. Is there not?
Yeah, well, it's Disney Day, so Disney Plus.
Right, Disney Plus is coming up.
Yeah,
yes.
they're releasing a lot of stuff. Thor. They've got a new Cars series.
Yeah.
It's just
which looks really sweet because again, it's going to be shorts and all that, which is kind of nice.
Yeah.
Mike, there's your chance to go see to watch Thor: Love and Thunder, and then if you want to, you can just walk out. And
Yes,
it not
just-
cost you any more.
just
It
leave your
won't cost
living
you
room.
any more than you've already paid for Disney Plus. So there you go. You can thoroughly bash it after watching it on.
All right, I can't wait to batch that.
Yeah,
Cobra
exactly.
Kai.
That's Cobra Kai is also
just around
exactly.
the corner. So in terms of films, we also have the live action Pinocchio with Tom Hanks, with a Pinocchio that looks like Pinocchio.
Oh my God, I had not seen any of the footage of Pinocchio until this latest one and all that. And I'm like, oh my God, they actually did. Well, I guess it's Disney doing it, but, I mean,
but the last Pinocchio was like, was it that hard to make Pinocchio look like Pinocchio?
Yeah. But also, don't they have Guillermo del Toro's version of Pinocchio coming out later this year as well?
I think so, yeah.
And his looks like a wicked ass, nice looking Pinocchio that I've seen. It's obviously more of the Del Toro sort of universe of looking creatures, but it looks.
I actually haven't seen that yet, but I love Del Toro.
Yeah.
So.
But no, Tom Hanks as Geppetto for the Disney version looks kind of cute. I mean, but yes, seeing a
Tom Hanks looks cute.
No, the movie. No, the computer generated Pinocchio that looks like.
Okay.
It's the 2D animation Pinocchio that's just 3D now. So
yeah. So let's see. Also, I believe, I mean, if you really want to, torture yourself, Morbius is coming out on Netflix. I believe in September. So if you really want to just jab that knife into your throat and twist it,
I actually want to watch that. Just as a
it's like watching a train accident. It's going to be horrific, but
if it's something that I can pause, walk away, come back, turn on the next day at the point where I stopped it from, then I'll watch Morbius. I'm curious to see. Okay, you know what? Like we were saying earlier, I'm curious to see Matt Smith in the movie because Matt Smith, spoiler alert, plays the bad guy in this movie. So we'll see. We'll see if anything from Game of Thrones is in here. Well, he would have done this after Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Was his butt be in it?
I don't know.
Watch.
Let's see what. So yeah, we got the big one is, Cobra Kai. It's coming. About a week and a half.
Yeah.
Where are you at, Troy? You're way back. You're like
I am so
season
way
one?
back. No, I'm season one. I'm season one.
Listen
I just can't. I understand that it is something that I have to see, and it's just I just really can't. I can't bring myself to. Okay.
This is going to be a therapy session.
Okay,
and you know what? In fact, we're going to call this an intervention.
Okay.
Trevor, intervention.
Okay, to come clean on it, I was never a big Karate Kid fan to begin with. I did not really enjoy the movies to begin with. I mean, I understand the tropes, I understand the storytelling, the aspect, and all that sort of thing. But I mean, Pat Morita, don't get me wrong, fantastic actor and all that sort of thing. And Ralph Macchio, I've enjoyed his stuff too. I just, as a kid, I never got into. To tell you the truth, I think I maybe have seen Karate Kid, the original movie, maybe twice at best. I think I've seen the other movies probably only once. Did not see obviously the Jackie Chan version because that was kung fu, not karate. But I applaud the Netflix version. Well, I guess it's not really Netflix. The guys that brought it to YouTube, right? The first season, right? I applaud their tenacity to bring back a feel of the original series. And I understand why everyone loves the nostalgia of it and all that, because this was basically the nostalgia before the nostalgia broke out. Stranger Things comes after Cobra Kai. I mean, it's these guys got on first, and then Netflix decided, oh, let's give these guys more to do and all that sort of thing. And I'll applaud them. They're bringing out everything. You can tell that the guys that created Cobra Kai are diehard fans of the series, and they know the thing forward and back, all the series. Call me up when Hilary Swank shows up. So just it just
I'm sure
gotta
she's
be
going.
around
They
the
keep mentioning it.
yeah, exactly. But
Mike Barnes is coming.
Yeah.
He's not far behind.
so I mean, I'm all for them. I mean, I applaud them wholeheartedly because I know what good nostalgia feels like, and from what I can ascertain from what just listening to you guys alone, like just you guys alone, it's working well. But it's not just you guys. I've heard it from all over the place. I myself, the original Karate Kids just didn't hit me right. I mean, I didn't feel that I needed
It's
to
because you're
revisit
doing
that
too
universe.
much wax off.
Yeah, wax
Yeah,
on,
exactly.
wax
Too much
Yeah, it
wax
didn't
on,
hit
wax
you.
off. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. No, it never did. It never did.
We gotta
Yeah,
sweep your
exactly.
leg, Troy.
The what was the painting up and down sort of thing? Not
paint the
anyways.
fence.
Yeah, paint the fence. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But again, I don't know if I'll ever get around to it.
Oh, you will.
Totally.
No, me and Trevor are going to show up. Trevor's going to do that thing he does where he ties you up. You're right.
Boot chair.
And
But
you're going to watch it.
Again,
sometime. We'll get there.
I just want it to be known that I have nothing against it. I like I said, I applaud the makers. I applaud all the actors coming back to, because they all seem to be enjoying doing it as well, which is kind of neat. Because I've seen all the behind the scenes interviews, and like they seem to enjoy this.
And the fun thing that I'm enjoying is watching the actors get better. Like you look at the stuff that they're doing, and Trevor, you can chime in on this because you have more critical eye on it, but it seems like all the actors are getting way better with the stunts and the moves and the choreography. Where kids that in the first season were, a little Daniel LaRusso level, but they're like everybody's amping it up, and it's exciting. It's so much fun to watch.
I'll chime in and agree with that.
This is me chiming in.
This is me justifying my face on the screen right now.
There you go.
Yeah, I know there are series each of us will watch that others don't.
Yep.
And then we can always recommend each other, please watch this series. But if you don't watch it, you don't watch it. It's the way things go.
Yeah.
I think September's got a nice grouping of things coming down the pipe. With various movies suddenly being shoved back into 2023 and
Frickin' DC again to get on this frickin' train. Warner Brothers, what the frack are you doing? I mean, the only thing coming out now is just Black Adam, right?
No, Black Adam got pushed to 2023.
Oh wait, what is coming out then?
Black Panther, Wakanda Forever.
No. I thought Aquaman. No, because Aquaman and Shazam had been moved back. Black Adam is still
Black
coming
Adam
out.
got moved.
Oh, I thought it was the other way around. So what's coming out is okay. Let's just quickly look it up on the little internets there, because Trevor is a whiz at the Google Foo, and I believe.
Okay, so it's currently right now it is October 21st, 2022. So
for what? Black Adam?
Black Adam.
Oh, because in November is Wakanda Forever. Yeah, and then
it was supposed to be Shazam: Fury of the Gods in December, but that
got pushed back.
February or May.
Yeah, and that pushed
Or,
back
sorry, Mark.
Aquaman even further. So yeah.
Well, they got to do all those reshoots and recuts around getting rid of Amber Heard.
And then they also have to figure out what they're going to do with friggin' Ezra Miller's
The Flash. Even though they keep saying that Warner Brothers executives say they're getting the highest reviews on Flash and it's their best film ever. It's like,
no, it's
yeah,
not.
but there's still some issues.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? Your movie's probably not the issues right now. It's your lead actor that you can't put in front of a camera to interview because they are too unstable right now. There is no way that it's going to be like having Tom Holland in an interview, but Tom Holland is on crack talking about his movie. It's like he's going to spoil everything, but Ezra Miller is not going to spoil the movie. He's just going to go off and it's a troubled person. And unfortunately that the WB is stuck in this situation where they should just friggin' bite the bullet and release Batgirl. That's all I have to say about that. I want to see fucking Michael Keaton in the Batman costume again.
But
come on, Warner Brothers, listen to Troy.
Did you read the article where the two directors went back to the Warner Brothers server to grab some scenes?
Yes, I did. I heard about that.
It's all gone. And so unless it was either backed up on somewhere they can't find the whole movie, and that's just it though. If the movie surfaces in any way, Warner has to
give back that money. Yep, they have to pay back the money that they just got from it.
Not only do they delete the drive or delete off the drive, they scrub the drive.
Yeah. The way the world goes right now. All right.
Yeah. Anyways, so if you've been listening to this podcast, good on you. Yes. So this puts 51 into the can. And at this point, you've probably either driven off a cliff in frustration, contemplated driving into somebody if you're listening in the car, or jumped off the roof of your house. If you haven't done any of those things,
the cat.
You're a fan.
Stop the cat.
Yeah, if you're there, if you haven't done any of those, you're a fan. Good on you. So we're going to do a collective goodbye. Ready, guys? 3, 2, 1.
Collective goodbye.
I think that was our best one. Sorry, Gavin.
Yep, Gavin's bringing us down. That's what it is.
It's always Gavin.
All right. Good night, folks.
All right. Good night.
This has been Geeking Off the Page, a Planet Geek production. Please be sure to subscribe, share, rate, and review. You can find us at our social medias through Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. Search for Planet Geek Productions. On Instagram and Twitter, Planet Geek Pod. Or you can send us an email at planetgeekpod@gmail.com. So until next bad time, same Spider Channel, may the Force be with you, and thanks for tuning in.